organized this cross-platform dialogue, which is really a cross-discipline, so that the expert from the country in each discipline can discuss and dialogue, and how the interdisciplinary convene an effective approach during such a pandemic situation in the country and in our country. And with this few words, I want to conclude my remark, and thank you, organizer. Thank you, everyone, for listening me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the researchful insight and giving such details about the necessity and need of distance education mode. The new story today is ODL. And now I would like to welcome Professor Saket Kushwaha, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University, to deliver the chairman's address. But before that, as we have so many participants linked with us right now, I would like to read a small bio. There is much to say about sir, but this is only a few lines. Professor Saket Kushwaha specialized in resource management and sustainable agriculture development. After higher studies from Banaras Hindu University, he joined Abu Bakr Tawafa Balewa University in Nigeria in 1993 and taught various courses on agriculture economics and management. He rose to the rank of professor at ATBU in the year 1999, and in 2006, he came back to the country and joined Banaras Hindu University as professor in agriculture economics. Then he became the vice chancellor of Lalit Narayan Mithila University for a term from 2014 to 2017. He has more than 100 publications in national and international journals of repute, supervised more than 23 PhD students, authored 19 books, and written many chapters. Professor Kushwaha is life member of 12 professional bodies and sits in the panel of many such editorial boards. He has worked extensively in the field of zero emission research initiative, propagating the mission of sustainable development under the aegis of Waste is Wealth concept. He is also the recipient of 17 national and international awards, which includes award for Tulip International Gold Medal in 2016 for his sanitation management. He had 20 years of teaching, research, extension, and community service with 23 years in administration. This is his second tenure as Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University, and we are very fortunate to have a leader who is as visionary and who is as active as our Vice Chancellor is. So I welcome Professor Saket Kushwaha ji to please deliver the chairman's address.
Namaste. Thank you. Good morning, Suprabhat. I think I'm very audible.
Very audible, sir.
Very good. My greetings to Honorable Minister of Education of Arunachal Pradesh, Sri Baba Tadir Sahib, who is also our chief guest. My greeting goes to Professor Amitabh Mitra, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of this university. Together with him, we have very energetic our registrar of this university, who is also a geographer, known geographer. The very energetic and very, today I was listening very carefully the speech of Professor Ehsan Reddy. He was very composed, but he was very sad with that note where he ended that this is irregular degree. I will explain to that one. Ms. Moiriba, the mover and shaker of all these programs, all the 8 departments, they are head of the departments, the very learned resource persons. We have 25 resource persons in these 8 days seminar, or other delegate participants. My time greetings, my good morning to all of you, and thank you for joining us. Let me tell you, I will start from the line of last speaker, where Professor Ehsan Reddy mentioned a name, Honorable Vice Chancellor. I believe that we are all aware three out of any full-time university, or any other open university. They are all equal. There is a UGC gadget on it that degrees obtained through distance mode, open university, as well as other full-time universities, they are equal. That is why under ODL mode or in open university system, we are not running the course which is lab oriented. The sole purpose of Supreme Court of stopping those courses was that under ODL or open university system, students pursue their degree when they have time. Even time schedule given to them is little longer than the time schedule given to our full-time universities. Irregular means to me is not regular routine timetable. In the university system, we have routine, we have timetable. And based on routine and timetable, we have number of contact days and we have a set pattern of doing the things. Likewise, in open and distance learning mode, students are going through the study material, not coming in the interaction with the teacher face to face regularly. Only they come in the contact with the counselor. I think this is the high time for us to think, if some of us are thinking that students who are pursuing the degrees, various degrees, certificates and diploma through distance ODL mode or in the open university system, if we feel or if anyone feels that they are not doing well, then it is our duty to make sure that we give them also a chance to attend the crash program. We don't mind spending money to organize crash lecture program in the orientation centers. So to me, that is why recently Government of India, only in this on this Saturday, last Saturday, HRM, Honorable Minister Dr. Nishank Pokhriyal Sahab wanted to discuss with us that every course, every semester, we must replace our regular courses through MOOCs, that means available on SAM platform. Even they have a desire that we could equally register our student in open university courses, IGNOU at least. So to me, all degrees are equal. Problem comes when we take things lightly. It is not only with ODL mode. Look, distance education has done in almost 32 successful programs we have done during COVID-19 pandemic time. That means from 24th March till date, at least 5 good programs were organized by Institute of Distance Education of RGU. For that, I wish to extend my sincere thanks to Professor Ehsan Reddy, Ms. Moir and her team. There are 6 or 7 other guest faculty assistant professors there. And together with them, we have the cooperation of various resource person and head of the department. You see, this is difficult time. The purpose of organizing cross-platform dialogue is, you see, when we vibrate or when we operate within the closed chamber, then problem is that we fail to understand the synergy between various programs. This is not, we are talking between 2 programs. We are talking among the 8 programs. The very purpose of this program is that we try to understand the dynamics and the mechanism of different programs, different subjects, together with other subjects. That is why even we see we have intra-university system, we have inter-university system. So the purpose of having this kind of cross-platform dialogue is not a routine matter. I believe that we are number one in the country. Even the very last panel discussion, which were organized by Institute of Distance Education, was the organizing 6 honorable vice chancellor, women vice chancellor for that matter, is a unique effort. Whole country is praising. Only we failed to propagate and bring out the news properly. We failed to bring the reports properly. So the problem is that no matter how good you are, if you fail to express your achievement to the larger world, you still become the local identity. You inherit, you badge the only local identity. And you know, everyone is telling, even Honorable Prime Minister is saying that, act locally, become globally. So no matter how locally we are acting, but the result and outcome of our achievements must be laudable enough for others to see and perceive the real motive of it. So with these words, I wish to encourage all of you, and I'm really thankful to Honorable Minister. And okay, I think along the line, I have forgotten to mention the name of Iron Lady of the state, Dr. Miss Niharika Rai also. I think she has also joined. She is very keen to develop the system. You know, in recent past, I think for past 15 days, we are discussing continuously with Honorable Minister, sir. He is worried. The whole state is worried. The whole country is worried about the future of the student. Day before yesterday night, I think, during our telephonic conversation, Honorable Education Minister expressed that we should come out with a clear-cut press release about the terminal exams. To this, to his request, to his directive, I assure you, Honorable Minister, sir, that we are going to bring out the press release very soon. We are ready with it. Only little proofreading has to be done. We assure you, Rajiv Gandhi University assures you, sir, that we are operating only and only within the mandate of University Grants Commission and MHRD. We are centrally funded and monitored university by MHRD and UGC. Our recognition is under 2F and 12B. I think it could be other way, is from UGC. That means our degrees are being recognized by them. Our funding, 98% funding is from them. So we have to, and for the purpose of national framework integrity, there is a document called as MAS document, Minimum Academic Standard Document. We are meeting the regulations and ordinances mentioned in that MAS document. Even it is up to that level that our syllabus is almost equal. It may vary 10, 20% from the national syllabus. And that liberty has been given to us by UGC and MHRD to incorporate the regional flavor. So my purpose of doing all this exercise is dynamic. And the only thing which I feel on this earth is permanent is only one word: change. If we don't change for the better future, we will be phased out. And I think that our green state is striving hard to survive, to match the speed of the nation as well as the larger world. There's a need for us to work harder and harder every day. It is a recovery mechanism of the system, sir. For everyone, I want to tell you that sitting ideal, this morning I got a very beautiful message from Professor Tomoriba. Very beautiful message. You know, I always appreciate the energy of all my colleagues. I don't treat my colleague as a subordinate person. I treat all my colleagues equal, whether it is male, female, or immaterial of any position. I cooperate and I assist my all colleagues so that they can excel. So his message was very loud and clear that involving unnecessarily in unproductive means and in negative things is going to destroy your own health, your own wisdom, your own integrity and image. I'm not saying that you should be fan of somebody, but my purpose to tell you is that try to be positive. The day you start cursing the plant, even if you start expressing the bad words and bad feeling even to the animal and plants, they die. And look, if you start complaining too much about the system, the university, the state, we spoil the minds of students. Because let me tell you, my feeling is very straight. When I saw the letter given by some of the union to Honorable Chief Minister, copy to Honorable Education Minister, even there was a letter written to Honorable Governor. When I went through the language, I have a strong feeling that that language belonged to somebody. I know the name. By mere looking at the letter, I know the names of the person who has drafted that letter. But I'm a gentleman. I give freedom to express, but don't feel that sitting on this chair, we are fool. We give you a chance to improve. There's a need for you to be positive, whatever you are doing in your system. Once again, I wish all of you very best in life. I wish to encourage all of you. Professor Mitra has just said that I expect output in form of either book, not only proceeding. It is my duty to pay for the book. I know it is Institute of Distance Education is going to pay, not the larger university is going to pay. With all the review and everything must be in place, and we should bring out the book. I think we need a book from your distance education. It is going to bring some marks in NAC accreditation. My greetings to each one of you. And if I will request Dr. Ms. Moir that after the talk of Honorable Education Minister, please announce that we should be on a screen and you should take a screen picture with Honorable Minister, sir, with Registrar, with PVC, with you, Director Reddy, and some of the resource person, and Madam Niharika Rai, if she is available. With these words, I wish to express my sincere feeling and love to distance education. You are at par. You are as important as anybody, like my eyes and ears. So no one has any right to undermine you. Yes, your degrees are at par and we sign the degree. So it is regular degree, nobody can challenge it. So with these words, I express my, again, greetings to all of you. Thank you very much for giving me chance. For these 8 days, I wish all of you should be very productive, very energetic, and bring out a very good output from this cross-platform dialogues, which I would like to give it to this state, our Honorable Education Minister, as well as Honorable CM and Deputy CM, so that if a policy could be made out of it, that will be a great achievement for Rajiv Gandhi University and for Institute of Distance Education. For that purpose. Thank you very much. Namaste. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Arunachal.
Thank you, sir, for such encouraging words. And I would like to take this opportunity to share with you that we are already in the process of making documents for the 3 programs that we have conducted. We are sharing the document with the speakers to take their permission, whether we can go as it is or we need to edit. So by the time we come up with the next faculty development program on the 28th, I assure you that we will be releasing at least 2 of the documents. This is a promise from the Institute of Distance Education, and we hope to keep it safe. Moving on, now we have the honor to invite Engineer Taba Tede, sir, who's the Honorable Minister for Education, for his inaugural address. We have around 500 people joining us live in this platform, and we are also running a YouTube channel live where we have another 200 people joining us. So for the benefit of everyone, I would like to share a few words about Taba Tedir sir. Engineer Taba Tedir was born on 15 April 1963 at Bailo village under Lower Subansiri district of Arunachal Pradesh. He is the second child of late Taba Tat and Mrs. Taba Yaja. He did primary schooling from government school Doimuk and secured scholarship. He passed his class 11 AISSE in 1980 from Doimuk Higher Secondary with first class and was awarded Governor's Meritorious Award. He completed his higher secondary boards in 1982 from Delhi Public School, New Delhi. He graduated in civil engineering in 1986 from Madan Mohan Malviya Engineering College, Gorakhpur. He was inducted as assistant engineer in 1988 and was promoted to chief engineer, urban and housing department in 2010. Among his many landmark policies adopted in his tenure as chief engineer, he introduced 10% quota for sports in government jobs. Even while in service, he was always involved in social upliftment of people of the state and initiated many reforms. Amongst his many contributions, the one affected the people of Arunachal the most was his support to his late wife, Dr. Taba Nirmali, to establish the first private hospital of the state. In a state where health sector is such a challenge, it all came as a boon. The small hospital started many years ago, today is a multi-specialty hospital dedicated in the memory of late Taba Nirmali. Through the Dr. Taba Nirmali Trust, he also initiated a scholarship of 2 lakhs for the achievers of Tomo River Institute of Medical and Health Sciences, a medical college which is affiliated to Rajiv Gandhi University. Following this part of service, he took voluntary retirement in 2019 after dedicating 3 decades of his life to the government of Arunachal Pradesh and to the Department of Engineering. And then he contested for a seat in the Legislative Assembly from Yajuli constituency in a BJP ticket. And it was no surprise that he was declared winner unopposed. And he was then inducted into the ministry as Minister for Education. And with this, I would also like to share, I know him personally in such an honor to have the opportunity to welcome you, sir. And Ati, I would now give the floor to you and request to enlighten us with your words. Ati, welcome, please. Ati, you are mute. Can you please unmute? We are awaiting for sir to unmute his mic.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Can you hear? Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ati.
Professor Saket Kushwaji, Kulpati Rajiv Gandhi Vishwavidyalaya, Professor Amita Mitra, Prati Kulpati Rajiv Gandhi Vishwavidyalaya, Niharika Rai, Chief Shiksha Vibhag, Government of Arunachal Pradesh, Professor Tomo Riva, Kul Sachiv Rajiv Gandhi Vishwavidyalaya, Professor Asan Reddy, Director, Institute of Distance Education, organizers, participants, इतिहास गवाह है जो कुछ भी होश हमेशा आया है, आने के बाद ही जाती है कि जैसे जैसे समस्या जीवन में आती है, समय के साथ उन समस्याओं के पर काबू पाने के लिए खोज की जाती है। उसी प्रकार आज सारा विश्व कोविड पैंडेमिक के नाम के समस्या से लड़ रहा है। हर देश अपने अपने स्तर पर इस समस्या पर काबू पाने के लिए इंतजार कर रहा है। ऐसे समय में स्टूडेंट की शिक्षा अधिक प्रभावित नहीं हो, इसके लिए देश एवं प्रदेश में ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन को बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है। हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कोविड पैंडेमिक की इस विशाल समस्या की वजह से प्रदेश के बच्चों को शिक्षा में प्रभावित नहीं हो। परिणाम स्वरूप ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन, वर्चुअल क्लासेस और डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन आज की परिस्थितियों के हिसाब से शिक्षा प्रदान करने का सबसे उपयुक्त साधन साबित हो रहा है। अरुणाचल प्रदेश में भी वर्तमान परिस्थितियों को देखते हुए वर्चुअल क्लासेस को अपनाया है, जिसमें स्टूडेंट्स को टीवी चैनल के माध्यम से घर पर ही पढ़ाया जा रहा है। इस प्रयास को स्टूडेंट और पब्लिक द्वारा बहुत सराहा जा रहा है। प्रदेश में शिक्षा विभाग समय समय पर जरूरत के अनुसार इस तरह के प्रयास करता रहा और आगे भी करता रहेगा। हम किसी भी कीमत पर हमारे प्रदेश के बच्चों की शिक्षा को प्रभावित नहीं होने देंगे। यही नहीं, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन के लिए भी एवं कई अन्य प्रयासों के स्टूडेंट को विशेष राशि प्रदान करते हैं। राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी ने भी डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन के माध्यम से कई सारे कोर्सेज शुरू किए हैं। इन कोर्सेज से हमारे प्रदेश के रिमोट एरियाज के स्टूडेंट को भी घर बैठे अपने एजुकेशन पूरी कर सकते हैं। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी आने वाले समय में डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन में जरूरत के हिसाब से और कोर्स ऐड करेंगे। मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन ने इस प्रकार का अनूठा अवेयर कार्यक्रम आयोजित किया। इस अवेयर में शामिल हुए सभी एकेडमिशियंस, रिसर्चर्स, पार्टिसिपेंट्स और प्यारे बच्चों को मैं इस विशेष अवेयर के लिए बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और आशा करता हूं कि आप सभी इस 8 दिवसीय अवेयर में कुछ समय सीख पाएंगे। राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी क्वालिटी एजुकेशन के लिए और एजुकेशन लेवल को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए इस तरह के प्रयास लगातार करता रहा, जो कि हमारे प्रदेश के लिए बहुत अच्छी बात है। अवेयर स्टूडेंट और सभी पार्टिसिपेंट के साथ कन्वर्सेशंस इस्टेब्लिश करने की और साथ ही साथ स्टूडेंट के नॉलेज एनहांसमेंट के बहुत उपयोगी होगा। परिस्थिति को समझते हुए इस तरह का राष्ट्रीय स्तर का अवेयर आयोजित करना, जिसमें सभी सब्जेक्ट के स्पेशलिस्ट और स्टूडेंट सम्मिलित हो पाए और कुछ सीख पाए, समय की मांग थी। मुझे विश्वास है कि मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी टीम पर आयोजित इस अवेयर के माध्यम से सभी स्टूडेंट्स और पार्टिसिपेंट को लाभान्वित होंगे और कुछ सीख पाएंगे। आज के समय में शिक्षा तो जरूरी है, लेकिन शिक्षा के साथ साथ हमारे इंडिजिनस कल्चर को भी प्रिजर्व करना बहुत जरूरी है। आज के बच्चे अपनी भाषा, अपने कल्चर से दूर होते जा रहे हैं। आज की जनरेशन्स अपनी इंडिजिनस लैंग्वेज, कल्चर के बारे में नहीं जानते हैं। इस वजह से हमारे प्रदेश की लगभग 82 ट्राइबल लैंग्वेजेस खत्म होने की कगार पर है। यूनेस्को के 2009 के अनुमान के मुताबिक वर्ल्ड की एंडेंजर्ड लैंग्वेजेस में से 26 लैंग्वेजेस अरुणाचल प्रदेश के हैं। लार्जली पॉपुलेटेड ट्राइबल ग्रुप्स की लैंग्वेजेस जैसे कि आदि, गालो, निसी भी यूनेस्को की आंसर कैटेगरी में आ गई है। आश्चर्य की बात यह है कि इतना सब कुछ होने पर भी हमारे समाज के लोग इस विषय को लेकर जागरूक नहीं है। वे अभी भी बच्चों को हिंदी अंग्रेजी भाषा सिखाकर सोचते हैं कि उन्होंने अपनी जिम्मेदारियां पूरी कर दी है। लेकिन अगर ऐसी तरह चलता रहा तो आने वाले कुछ सालों में हमारी इंडिजिनस लैंग्वेज, हमारी मदर टंग खत्म हो जाएगी। इन लैंग्वेज को कोई जानने वाला, बोलने वाला ही नहीं रहेगा, और फिर जिस इंडिजिनस आइडेंटिटी पर हम गर्व करते हैं वो आइडेंटिटी भी खत्म हो जाएगी। इसलिए जरूरत है कि हम बोलचाल में अपनी मदर टंग को उपयोग करें और घर में सभी छोटे बच्चे को अपनी मातृभाषा, अपनी कल्चर के बारे में सब कुछ सिखाएं। नेशनल लेवल पर कॉम्पीट करने के लिए हिंदी और अंग्रेजी लैंग्वेज भी जरूरी है, जो कि हमें सीखना चाहिए। लेकिन इसके साथ साथ हमें वो भी लैंग्वेज भी सीखना चाहिए जो हमारे आइडेंटिटी है, जो हमें बाकी लोगों से अलग बनाती है। अपने आइडेंटिटी और कल्चर को कैसे हम खत्म होने दे सकते हैं? कोई इंडिजिनस लैंग्वेज को बोलने जानने वाला कोई नहीं है, और भी भाषाएं जो हमारी आइडेंटिटी वो भी धीरे धीरे खत्म हो जा रही है। यह सब देखकर अरुणाचल प्रदेश सरकार ने हमारे जितना भी स्कूल में है, हमारे कच्चा 6 से लेकर कच्चा 8 की जो स्टूडेंट है उनको थर्ड लैंग्वेज के तौर पर अपनी मातृभाषा को थर्ड लैंग्वेज शुरुआत किया है, और साथ ही साथ अलग अलग माध्यम से स्टूडेंट को कल्चर के संबंधित जानकारी देने के प्रयास किए हैं और आगे भी करते रहेंगे। स्टूडेंट से कहना चाहूंगा कि अपनी आइडेंटिटी, कल्चर और अपनी लैंग्वेज पर प्राउड कीजिए और इन्हें कभी खत्म मत होने दीजिएगा। अब मैं सोशल मीडिया में, अखबारों में अभी हमारे बीसी साहब ने जो बताया है कि जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम को लेके, हमारे फाइनल ईयर की सेमेस्टर के एग्जाम को लेके बहुत से अफवाहें चर्चा चल रही है। मैं अपने विद्यार्थी को, अपने बच्चों को ये कहना चाहता हूं कि परीक्षा शिक्षा व्यवस्था की अभिन्न अंग है, जो विद्यार्थी के लिए ज्ञान और कौशल को मापने और उन्हें बढ़ाने में उपयोग होती है। परीक्षा परिणाम विद्यार्थी की मेरिट, विशिष्टता और समाज को दर्शाता है, और यही परीक्षा परिणाम विद्यार्थियों के जीवन भर विभिन्न कार्य में, जैसे उच्च शिक्षा के लिए अच्छे विद्यालय में दाखिला लेना, छात्रवृत्ति प्राप्त करने, नौकरी पाने आदि में सहायता प्रदान करता है। विश्व के समस्त देशों में जैसे अमेरिका, यूके, कनाडा, जर्मनी, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, सिंगापुर, हांगकांग आदि के श्रेष्ठ विश्वविद्यालय कोविड संबंधित सुरक्षा के इंतजाम करते हुए विभिन्न माध्यमों से ऑनलाइन, ऑफलाइन पद्धति आदि से विद्यार्थियों की परीक्षा का आयोजित कर रहे हैं। मैं अपने विद्यार्थियों से भी निवेदन करता हूं कि इस जो हमारी राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी ने जो एग्जाम की यूजीसी के गाइडलाइन के हिसाब से जो दिया है उनका अमल करें और परीक्षा में इवन यूनिवर्सिटी को मदद करें। अंत में मैं राजीव गांधी यूनिवर्सिटी की सभी डिपार्टमेंट के फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ और सभी अधिकारी, कर्मचारी शुभकामनाएं देता हूं कि जिस उद्देश्य से यह वेबिनार आयोजित किया गया है वह उद्देश्य पूरे हो। यूनिवर्सिटी के इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन के सभी अधिकारी, कर्मचारी को बधाई देता हूं अपने इस अनूठे वेबिनार को आयोजित करने की रूपरेखा तैयार की और अतः इसे आयोजित किया। स्टूडेंट से यही कहना चाहूंगा कि इस कोविड पैंडेमिक की परीक्षा की घड़ी में घबराए नहीं, बल्कि इस समय का अच्छे से उपयोग करें और कुछ नया सीखे, अपने आप को इम्प्रूव करें, अपने आने वाले परीक्षा के लिए अपने से तैयार रहे, क्योंकि परीक्षा है अपने हर जीवन का। आपको आने वाले समय में आप इस परीक्षा से उत्तीर्ण होगा तो आपका बहुत अच्छा होगा। मैं अंत में ज्यादा नहीं बोलते हुए हरिबसंत राय बच्चन जी की कुछ पंक्तियों के साथ में अपने भाषण को विराम दूंगा। असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो, क्या कमी रह गई, देखो और सुधार करो। असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो। क्या कमी रह गई, देखो और सुधार करो। जब तक ना सफल हो, नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम। संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम। कुछ किए बिना ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। दोबारा, कुछ किए बिना ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय अरुणाचल।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Very
Thank you, sir.
So I think we all have taken a moment to take everything in. Everyone went silent. So that was such an enlightening, I won't say a lecture, your expressions and your views that you shared with us, from examination to the lack of our own languages. Everything that is important to us today has been touched in that small 15 minutes or whatever. So we could not even look at the time. It was so interesting. Uh, to just to add to it, sir, it is said the school is the, when you talk about school, the family is the first school, and right now the children are spending most of their time in their first school. So I think now it is the role for the parents to start playing that role of a teacher and teach their children Galo, Nishi, Apatani, Tagin, Tangsa. And when they go back to school, Hindi and English will come to that. I second your motion, sir, and I request, I think this is the right platform to request at least the people here who have joined us to start teaching the languages at home, taking some good thing out of COVID-19. Everything about COVID-19 is difficult, but maybe this is one mood. The children are getting to spend some time at home and learning life skills and learning our own languages. This is what we take away from it, sir, and we hope that the students will also understand and perceive how examinations are important. Now, taking this program further, I would like to welcome Professor Tomo Riva, the Registrar of Rajiv Gandhi University, who has been the realm of all affairs, very active in the COVID task force. And I would like to request sir to please give the vote of thanks for the inaugural session, but not for the day, because we have the seminar for economics coming up right after the inaugural. So I request Professor Tomo Riva, Registrar RGU.
Thank you. Good morning to you, one and all. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, good morning. So first of all, though I've been given asked to give vote of thanks, but as a registrar of this university, I'd like to welcome our honorable ministers, sir. And sir, I'd like to give my heartfelt thanks to you, sir, honorable minister, as a chief guest of today's this webinar. So your speech was very short but very tasty. You have so many substances. So we enjoyed, and you touched the key points. As you said last time also, I met you in the Itanagar. You said you were giving emphasis on this languages, tribal languages, sir. During this as a education minister, I hope you will do something for our state. You are concerned for this. I wish you will do. Certainly, you will do in this regard. And thank you, sir, for covering this about examination. Also, you said for on behalf of us. So we are in between UGC and pandemic, and our students are suffering. So every time, and we thought of giving news release also. Again, there are certain things we cannot do. We are very, very much concerned, and we don't want to give certificate to our students which are not recognized. We want to give a certificate which is recognized by our country, and our students can compete in other parts of the world. So many, many thanks. And next time, sir, once again, we'll invite you to this university and we'll listen to you for longer duration. Thank you, sir. Once again, take care of your health.
Thank you.
So I would like to thank our honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. You said so many good things. You said the importance of decent education, said it's equal to other, because it is certificate signed by you, Vice Chancellor of the Central University. So it is, you said and many other good things also I say. So many, many thanks. And you have been always instrumental to this type of activities. Thank you, sir. And my thanks to our Madam Niharika Rai, very active education secretary of our state. Ma'am, you have been doing a lot for our state, and wish you will continue to do. And thank you, ma'am. You'll continue to guide us. I would like to thank Professor Amitabh Mitra, Pro-Vice Chancellor of this university. Sir, you gave very warm welcome address to our this participants of inaugural session. And thank you, sir. And Professor Asan Reddy, the Director of Distance Education, you have given brief but very good background of this webinar. And the main manager of the program, Ms. Moir Riba, and I thank you very much. And I wish all of you take care of your health, and thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such encouraging word. With this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. But as our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir has strictly instructed that we are going to take a picture now, so I would request all the speakers to please stay online for another 2 minutes. Just give us a moment to take the screenshot. And while we do that, I would like to share that we have come to the formal inauguration session, but immediately after this, we would be starting the. So there is a message for you in one of the screens. Thank you, sir. One of the participants is showing a play card to you, sir. Achi, if you can see that.
Yeah.
They're showing thank you cards to you. Everyone's much moved by the talk. Can you please flip it, Rajendra Chaturvedi ji? आपका उल्टा आ रहा है, उसको घुमा दीजिए.
नहीं,
आपका टेक्स्ट उल्टा जी.
वो बेटा घुमा नहीं सकते क्योंकि ये तो मिरर इमेज आएगी ना.
अच्छा हाँ, उनका लिखा मिरर इमेज. यू आर दिख रहा है सर. थैंक्स. अब वो ठीक था.
चतुर्वेदी साहब आप पढ़ दीजिए ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर के लिए. पढ़िए उसको, क्या लिखा है आपने. Unmute yourself and read. Unmute.
Unmute. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, Engineer Tawa Tedir, sir. Thank you. You are great, sir. Because I was listen first time in other state from Hindi, and आपने जो स्थानीय भाषाओं के लिए 4 शब्द बोले और उनकी उपयोगिता समझाई और उनकी जरूरत सांस्कृतिक विरासत में, बहुत बहुत थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू.
Thank you, everyone. So we come to the end of it, and that is the beauty of online webinars. We do not know who will join us from which part of the country. Right now, we have 490 people live with us, and many are joining us on the YouTube live feed. You can also watch these recordings in the channel, and we will share it with you. With this, I thank everyone. I thank our chief guest of the program, Engineer Taba Tedir, sir. Achi, thank you so much personally to you.
Thank you.
I would also thank Chuku Bama, because he always did to Minister sir, who has helped us to coordinate this. I would like to thank Professor Amitabh Mitra, Professor Asan Reddy, Professor Tomo Riba, all the heads, all the deans who have joined us for this program. And lastly, but not the least, Professor Sakesh Kuswaha, sir. Thank you for guiding us through this. And now we will stop the link here, and I would request all the participants to rejoin for the seminar, because many of us who have joined are not from economics. Anyone who wants to join for the economics session can link again. Thank you so much, and I hope to see everyone connected with us in the next evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Vandana, can you hear me? Madam, if I can connect to you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm thinking that we have 400 participants. Should we continue with the same link? Maybe economics, there are people from economics who are not able to join us because we are at capacity. So we are going to end this meeting, and you will have to join again, ma'am.
Okay. So I sign out? I exit?
No, ma'am. Yeah, you will have to exit, and then you sign in again with the same link, ma'am.
Madam, Moir, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Moir,
Yes,
I think in the Zoom, more than around 500 participants can join. So till now, we have only 364.
Sir,
we can continue. we can continue with this, and I think those who want to leave, they can leave by the time.
They are 364.
364 only. We can have.
Now people are leaving. At that point, we have 500. Sir, the problem was many people were. We have a capacity of 500 in this Zoom, not 1,000. 500.
No.
I have and there are messages in the WhatsApp group that they are trying to join in from economics, but they are not able to. But it's your call, sir.
Now 350 people only. Now we can admit. We have around 145 from economics, so we can easily.
It's your call, sir. Okay, so it's your call. Please let me know if you want to continue with the same link.
I think it's better to continue.
Okay, so should we wait for 5 minutes or we should just go ahead, sir?
There are only 2 more waiting.
We can wait for 2 minutes only. Then after that, we can start.
Okay, sure, sir. Sure. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
You can hear me, huh?
Professor Ijung. Welcome.
Hey.
You're in, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm in.
Okay.
I can see you.
So you can change your position because your backside is very light is there, so your face is not clear. So you can change your.
I know.
You can have.
How do I do?
You can have backside. You can move towards wall side, so that it becomes clear.
You can see me now.
I can see, but it's not very clear.
Then I have to, turn up and down.
Okay. So you can have wall.
Just hold on.
Okay.
I'm in Gibbs room.
Okay, now it's good. Now it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good.
Yes. Thank you. So please get ready, and we shall be starting.
Yeah. So.
Myla, sir, can you
please make him Professor Ijung co-host so that you can share his PPT. Sir, you have PPT?
Yeah. So
Hello.
we have made.
Ijung.
You can also.
Yeah.
Do you have PPT?
No. I forgot. You didn't tell me earlier.
Okay. No. I thought well, it will be okay.
Dr. Myla, can we start the? Can I start, sir? Dr. Myla, can we start it?
Better to start.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good morning once again. Though we have just finished the formal inaugural session for the 8 days, we now come to a smaller inaugural ceremony for our day in the economics department. I am Moir Riba and faculty in the Institute of Distance Education, and I am coordinating this event. When we started doing programs in IDE, I thought we are so lucky that we are the only institute in RGU who can do something like this. We can request Vandana madam, we can request Hilali madam, we can request Panigrahi sir, we can call all these stalwarts of academics together and request to make our 8-day webinar happen. I think this is one of the first, at least in the Northeast for sure. And we hope that we come up with very good writer papers. And I just received a message from Professor Amitabh Mitra. I would like to read it if you don't mind. It just will take 1 second. He said, my desire is that the proceeding is not only published, but it should be indexed in the Scopus. So I think I will read this in the beginning of all the sessions every day so that all the coordinators are aware that this is what is expected of us. With this, I would like to request Dr. Myla Lama, who is the coordinator from the Department of Economics, to please welcome the participants for the day in economics. Dr. Lama, please.
Okay, good morning to all of you. Still we are in morning, so we are just 2-3 minutes to close 12 noon. So I, on behalf of the Department of Economics, would like to welcome all of you. Particularly, I would like to welcome 3 distinguished speakers of today's webinar on economics, Professor Ijung from Nagaland University, Dr. Hemanta Mehte from Manipur University, and Dr. Amia Sharma from Guwahati University. So we shall be having 3 lectures in today's webinar on economics by 3 speakers. So first of all, before I go to start the technical session, I would like to request Professor Vandana Upadhyaya, HOD Department of Economics, to give a brief welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Lama, and thank you, Moir. A very good afternoon to all of you. Friends and colleagues, it gives me immense pleasure to be part of this very innovative initiative of cross-platform dialogues, a national webinar series spread across 8 disciplines.
Good afternoon.
Being organized by the Department of Distant Education, Rajiv Gandhi University, in collaboration with the Department of Economics. I welcome all of you on behalf of Rajiv Gandhi Central University and the Department of Economics to participate in this webinar series on the topic Economic Development in Northeast India, Opportunities and Challenges. At the very onset, I would like to welcome, obviously in absentia, the Education Minister, Government of Arunachal Pradesh, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University, Saket Kushwaji, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Erika, Registrar, Professor Riba, Education Secretary, Niharika Roy, Ashan Reddy, Director of Distant Education, and our esteemed speakers, Professor Janathum Ijung, Head Department of Economics, Nagaland University, Dr. Hemanta Mehte, Department of Economics, Manipur University, Dr. Amia Sharma, Department of Economics, Guwahati University, and all the participants for being with us for this session. We welcome all of you. I'm also thankful to my colleague, Dr. Lama, who will be coordinating today's session, and to Ms. Moir Riba for so efficiently coordinating the webinar series. It goes without saying that since mid-March, all our lives has been very severely impacted by what we understand as the COVID-19 pandemic. No part of the globe has remained untouched by this unprecedented health emergency that has destabilized every sphere of our lives. The prolonged lockdown that the world witnessed has had consequences that we are only beginning to comprehend, from enhanced social tensions to increasing instances of domestic violence inside homes and mental health issues to the severe fallouts of a crashing global economy on the lives of ordinary people across the globe. There is no area that this pandemic has not touched. Yes, the crisis is unprecedented. We find ourselves in an uncharted territory, and we have no templates to follow to get out of this mess. Northeast India is no exception. There is a sense of dissatisfaction over the limited understanding of the process of economic development in Northeast India, arguably the most under-researched part of the country. While it has been widely acknowledged that this volatile border region is among the relatively underdeveloped parts of the country, there has not been a systematic engagement with the underlying causes of such underdevelopment. Often, in the polarized debates regarding the causes of underdevelopment, there is hardly any attempt to engage dispassionately with the diversity that characterize the states and communities within the region. General perceptions are not only inadequate and misleading, often interventions based on such flawed generalizations have been proved to be counterproductive. The only answer to such an academic deficit is a greater commitment to generate more nuanced and locally grounded research on various dimensions of the development process in the region. At the same time, Northeast India or any part of India or the world cannot be studied in isolation. Global economic integration has been changing the development trajectories of many small and remote economies in unprecedented ways. The significant changes that have marked the Indian economy since the early 1990s, where a series of reforms were initiated that clearly marked a break from state-dominated development path that was the most significant aspect of India's development planning since independence, have also affected the Northeastern region. The implications of these changes are, however, still unfolding. In this backdrop, this webinar is the outcome of a modest collective effort to understand the ongoing changes in the region in the backdrop of larger changes at the national and global level. This is a collective effort that recognizes the specificities that characterize the development process in the Northeast India. However, we should not attempt to characterize these specificities as given as unchanging. Rather, we should try to examine the ways the specificities of the region have interacted with the process of economic, political, and social changes, shaping as well as getting shaped by the larger dynamics of social and economic transformation. Rather than treating the varied development experience and challenges of Northeast India as exceptional or unique, the webinar would examine the development process in a comparative way. Economic development of frontier and remote regions has long been a central theme of development studies. The webinar development processes and outcomes of India's Northeastern region in the context of the larger changes in the post-liberal
Madam, please unmute your mic.
done.
Right, done, ma'am. Thank you.
Economic development of frontier and remote regions has long been a central theme of development studies. The webinar would probe the development process and outcomes of India's Northeastern region in the context of the larger changes in the post-liberalization phase of the country, moving beyond security-centric perspectives and drawing upon diverse data sources. The webinar would cover a broad spectrum of issues across sectors and different states of the region. It would make an attempt to unravel the emerging challenges for economic transformation of the region, emphasizing on local specificities and their multiple linkages with the unfolding dynamics of regional and trans-border integration of input and output markets. Bringing together distinguished researchers and scholars from within the region, this cross-platform dialogues on the Northeastern economy and development, I'm sure, will provide a wide-ranging and up-to-date analysis. While the issues of economic development of Northeastern India is the main focus, this would be deepened by examining the linkages between governance and development, institutional dimensions, the role of state and specific policy initiatives. Pointing to significant lessons and future challenges for the region and beyond, this webinar, I'm sure, would be an invaluable source for understanding and researching the Northeastern economy of India. With this multidisciplinary approach, the webinar series would cover a variety of sectors and concerns such as land, agriculture, industry, infrastructure, finance, human development, human security, trade, and policy. This would be useful to scholars and researchers in a range of disciplines, including economics, public policy, governance and development, geopolitics, geography, development studies, politics, and sociology of development, area studies, besides observers and policymakers interested in the Northeast. Today's webinar will address one very important dimension of the crisis, that is, opportunities and challenges to economic development in Northeast India. We have a very interesting panel of speakers lined up for the academic event. The speakers will be addressing different aspects of development in Northeast India. We look forward to a very informative and insightful presentation, and I'm confident that the session will be very absorbing and thought-provoking. Informed about the multiple aspects of development crisis and the desirable policy responses in dealing with these challenges. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you for your valuable lecture. I think you have given a very thought-provoking lecture covering all the issues of developmental challenges in Northeast India. So, Madam has rightly set the platform for discussing the issues and challenges as well as opportunities of development in Northeast India. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we shall be starting the technical session of economics on the topic that is opportunities and challenges of economic development in Northeast India. So we have among us our first speaker, Professor T.Z. Izum from Nagaland University. So before I request him to start his lecture, I would like to give a brief introduction of Professor Izum. Professor Izum is the professor, and currently he is the head of the Department of Economics, Nagaland University. He has been in teaching profession for the last 19 years. He has published one book and published more than 30 articles in reputed international and national journals, as well as in edited books. He has undertaken 2 research projects and 1 consultancy project. Sir has successfully guided 2 PhD scholars and currently guiding 5 scholars. He has presented more than 20 papers in national and international conferences. So, Sir will be speaking on the topic agricultural marketing in Northeast India. So I think the selection of the topic is highly relevant, as the Northeast India is agrarian in nature, as agriculture contributes very high percentage in the GSDP of northeastern states. So though the region is agriculture based, however, it is been reported by various researchers that has been a lot of problem in agricultural marketing. Particularly, the producers do not get the good prices, and because of the presence of numerous this middleman, as well as due to poor connectivity, which causes problem in disposing their products at remunerative prices. Further, the region is isolated and the markets are located in distant places. So there are various constraints. I think the Sir's deliberation will enlighten us, and it will discuss various issues and challenges, and it will come out with specific policy suggestions which can help the farmers of Northeast India in improving their livelihood. I think now I would like to invite Professor Izum to start his deliberation. So the platform is yours, sir. Please start.
Thank you. You can hear me?
Yes, yes, clear.
Thank you, Lama, for inviting me for this discussion. It's really amazing to be a part of this discussion. Firstly, I would like to thank Lama and the Institute of Distance Education Department for inviting. Then we have the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, the registrar who are present here, the engineer Tapa Titter, then the head of department, Madam. I'm seeing you for the first time. I've been checking the website about your professors, everything from my for my department. But I'm so happy to meet you, at least virtually. Today's topic that what I'm going to discuss is about marketing of agriculture products in Nagaland. Especially why I want to focus mostly on Nagaland is that apart from Assam and Manipur Valley, the whole northeastern states are mostly of hilly region. So basing on that, all the characteristics, the hilly region, the characteristics are almost the same. Therefore, I was thinking of just focusing on Nagaland as a case study. This was actually just a part of my publication that I have done a few years back. Here I would be concentrating mostly on the prospects and the constraints that the agriculture market faces. So agriculture continues to be a fundamental instrument for sustainable development and poverty reduction in India. The agriculture sector contributes only about 18% of the total GDP in India. Agriculture is at the core of socio-economic development of the country. Therefore, growth of other sectors and overall economy depends on performance of agriculture to a considerable extent. However, there are several constraints which contributes to the stagnation of this sector, and one of them is market. So now I will define what agriculture marketing is. Dandon defines agriculture marketing as a form of markets that encompasses all goods and services in the field of agriculture. It also refers to a series of activities involved in moving the goods from the point of production to the point of consumption. Agriculture marketing was treated as synonymous to rural marketing. This is because agriculture products constitute the main component of rural market, and the factor affecting rural markets automatically affects agriculture markets. The constraint and prospects of agriculture market has been discussed and debated at different forums by many scholars. Some of the constraints that has been found out by many researchers are low literacy, transportation, communication, traditional life, poor road condition, irregular electricity, lack of transportation, etc. These are the problems faced by agriculture marketing. Now, coming back to Nagaland, traditionally the economy of Yes, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, it just ran off. The line just ran off, technical problem. Just bear with me kindly. It was only after the creation of the state in 1963 that a closed village economy opens up to the rest of the world. And many important changes and development has taken place. However, the state of Nagaland is still a land of villages with 1,317 recognized villages, out of which 1,278 are inhabited. The economy of the state is also rural-based because more than 82% of the population resides in the villages. Though the state is endowed with rich natural resources, these resources could not be fully tapped due to lack of capital, human capital, and many other factors. Therefore, agriculture became the main source of employment and livelihood for majority of the people of the state. But this sector, especially marketing of agriculture products, is still backward. Even though the state is abundantly placed with varieties of organic agriculture products, both cultivated and wild vegetables, the daily markets of any urban areas or semi-urban areas in Nagaland are flooded with products imported from Assam and other neighboring states, and the availability of these local products are scarce. It was also seen that rice is the main food for the people. The only commodities they sell in the markets are vegetables and not rice. Moreover, agriculture marketing system in the state are not organized in the sense that those goods that were marketed are either sold on the way or those farmers bringing it directly to the market by foot. So I will now deal with the factors affecting rural markets in Nagaland. First is production. Before the advent of modern civilization in Naga villages, the Naga village economy was self-sufficient with limited contacts with the outside world. The only contact with the outside world was the Assam, I should say, Ahoms of the Assam, where the Nagas exchanged gingers and cotton for salt from Assam. The system of cultivation was multi-cropping, focusing mainly on the production of rice. Apart from the cultivated village vegetables, they also depend on the wild vegetables. With limited outside contact accompanied by zero transport and communication system, the knowledge and commerce were less. This in turn makes the people in the villages to produce goods for their own consumption, and the large-scale production of agriculture's goods was absent before the advent of modernization. From the analysis, I've taken 104 villages as a sample for this study. So from the analysis, it was found that the entire villages still follow primitive method of cultivation and production. However, higher scale of production was found only in 15% of the villages that are located near the towns, near highways, and having good transport system. The rest of the villages follows traditional system because of limited market for the goods. The finding also reveals that apart from this surplus vegetables, the marketable surpluses of rice were not found in the market. Moreover, the supplies of these vegetables were found to be seasonal. Higher supply during summer and lower supply during winter in the market. Thus, the result shows that better road condition and marketing helps in the surplus production of agriculture goods. Now we come to next point is road infrastructure. Better road infrastructure is important for accelerating economic growth. It is important because it acts as a linkage for the countryside and the urban center. Better road connectivity also helps villagers to sell their agricultural products on the way as well as export it to urban daily markets. The connectivity also helps the agriculturists in importing input as fertilizer machines extra from urban center to the agriculture for agriculture purpose. Moreover, better road infrastructure is important because it increases income and widens the employment opportunities from mere agriculture workers to agro-based entrepreneurs. From the analysis, it was found that 20% of The line keeps up and down here.
एक्टिव रहना चाहिए हमेशा
Huh.
कल से तो मुझे भी काम
First,
करना पड़ता है
we unmarked their goods due to lack of transportation. Thus, the result reveals that only 12.5% of the villagers surveyed were able to market their agricultural surpluses owing to better road infrastructure and nearness to highway. It was also found that the agriculture activities, that is cultivation and multi-cropping system in these 13 villages were located near the highway or more than the other villages. The third problem is transport system. Here in Nagaland, the villages, what they're using is the community buses or the truck they hire to supply, to supply goods from villages to the urban areas for selling it in the market. But the finding here shows that only 12% has the community buses.
शुरुआत में
The rest,
495
88%,
हुए 417
does not have
312
a proper
और 212
transport system here.
क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक्स के काम है ना
So,
आगे इंग्लिश वालों का कर ले हिंदी
thus the
वालों का
result
उसके बाद
explains that
education के
surplus
social और
vegetables
पॉलिटिकल साइंस
product
आज
of
मैंने
the
इकोनॉमिक्स
villages
के अप्लाई किया था
Yeah.
तो मैं इकोनॉमिक्स का कर रही हूँ तो
in the
मुझे
district
अच्छा भी है सब्जेक्ट
that
वाइज
due
मिलेगा
to
नहीं
poor transport system. Then here we have the fourth problem is with the warehousing system.
पता है टीचर्स तो इनके अपने ही लिए हुए हैं लेकिन इंग्लिश
Traditionally,
नॉर्थ ईस्ट वालों की
Naga people in the rural area build private
English
granaries only to store rice
हाँ
after
तो
harvest,
इधर
which continues till today. However,
लेकिन
rice
वाइस
is not found to be
चांसलर ने बिहारी बिठाया
goods in
बिहारी
the
उत्तर प्रदेश
rural
का
market.
जो वाइस चांसलर है
The only goods that they
में
sell
पढ़ाया
are
है उससे पहले
the
कई जगहों
perishable
पे
goods like
PhD पढ़ाने के बाद एक कॉलेज में
vegetables. Thus,
भी
for
रहा
sorting
था
the perishable
Yeah,
goods, good warehouse and cold storage are required. However, the result reveals that none of the villages surveyed had warehouse other than the private granaries. In Nagaland, the government has established Agriculture Product Marketing Committee, ABMC,
नागालैंड
in all the district headquarters to take care of agriculture products and its marketing. However, the finding reveals that the ABMC, which was established with an idea in the district
नागालैंड का जो भी सामान
vanishes
आता है हर जगह का बता
without
रहा है
bearing
आसाम,
any
अरुणाचल, हर जगह का पूरा नॉर्थ ईस्ट का बता रहा है नागालैंड का चल
positive
रहा है
result.
नागालैंड का बता रहा है
Can
सारा
you
सामान आसाम से
mute?
आता है और जो टाउन के आसपास एरिया है वही एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्टिविटी है वहां पर मतलब
It would be good if the, others can mute. Thus, in the absence of warehouse, cold storage, good road and transport system, surplus production of agriculture goods could not be fully tapped in the district. From the analysis, it was found that in many villages, the surplus of agriculture products, especially vegetable, goes to animal as a forage because they were unable to find market. The last point is proximity to urban areas. Nearness to urban areas plays a vital role in expanding the agriculture markets. This is because chunk of the population in the urban areas are employed in other sector other than agriculture. Thus, the dependency for agriculture products come from the rural area as well as from the import of goods from outside the states. From the analysis, it was found that only 7% were able to market their products owing to the nearness of the urban center. So what should be done? Now, I have just a few suggestions here. What should be done? From the discussion, it was found that though the land are still fertile, people in the rural areas still continue to practice the self-sufficient system of cultivation and production, and the supply of goods in the market is low. The supply of local products in the market is low because of many physical constraints given below, which can be taken up collectively by the government and the people for improving the agriculture market in the rural area of the state. the first suggestion is proper road infrastructure connecting the urban and rural area should be created. This will increase the supply of local products in the market because the resources of all the villages will be fully tapped and there will be no scarcity of local products in the daily market. Number two, instead of always depending on state government to physically come and develop the village road, community-based development of roads should be emphasized. This is because every year, the state government earmarks funds to each village for development purpose. Thus, community-based development, where the surrounding villages pool their fund for developing the roads linking to national highway or state highway, should be emphasized by the respective rural villages. Third, it is also suggested that village in the district uses the Mahatma Gandhi National Employment Guarantee Act funds for developing the existing road linking the urban areas or the highway, instead of spending it on creation of new acrylic road, which are not motorable. Fourth point, proper education and necessary inputs be imparted and supplied to the villages so that the cultivation system becomes continuous. This will make the supply of agricultural products as non-seasonal and will also reduce seasonal unemployment. Fifth point, it is also suggested that from the rural development fund allocated to each village, certain sum of money be earmarked for the purchase of community bus by the respective villages. This is important because it will not only help in improving communication, but also in transporting goods from rural to urban areas and vice versa. This will increase the inflow of local products in the daily market. Lastly, the government should emphasize on creation of warehouses and cold storage in all the districts and manned property, so that the surplus supply in the market is harvested and exported to other districts as well as other states before the commodity perishes. Thank you. That is my presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
For your nice deliberation. I think you have raised all the issues related to this agriculture marketing, and also you have made specific policy suggestions which can help to improve the agriculture marketing and in improving the livelihood and living condition of people in the hilly area of Northeast India. We are very much thankful to you, sir. And now I think our participant must be having some queries and questions. So I request participants to place their questions. Please, participants, please ask your question by unmuting your mic, or you can send your question in chat box.
Yeah.
Question, Professor.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Dr. Kasturi Srinivas.
Oh, good morning, sir. I'm speaking from Hyderabad.
Oh, you're from Hyderabad?
Hyderabad Osmania University.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Nice to see you, sir. And it was really very good, informative theme, sir. The way you speak.
Thank you.
The outcome is excellent, sir. So thing is what, because I wanted to know the main problem wherein tribal in the sensitive in that particular area, because we are too far from that place. So what is the actual problem they're facing? Why the economy is not up to the level in that state? The reason behind what?
You mean your question is related to agriculture, or other? We have so many problems. We have so many problems. So which one you want? You have to be specific, because we have freedom fighting problem here. We have so many other problems apart from agriculture. So if
no, in general, what it is, because the major thing.
Yeah, in general, that's corruption is very high. corruption is everywhere, but the magnitude in Nagaland is super duper, I should say. Otherwise, as we have seen, the funds are always flowing from center to the state for development of even agriculture that I was just talking about. But, you know, because of this corruption, nothing's work here. Yeah, that's the main problem.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. Participants, please ask your questions. Otherwise, we will be moving to another lecture. Any questions, please ask. Sir, Ijung, hello.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
there is one question from one participant. Nidarsana Burakohai. So her question is, how has natural calamities affected the agricultural productivity in Northeast? How has natural calamity affected agricultural productivity? Okay.
That's a very good question. Of course, when we talk about the agriculture, the whole thing is about Assam only. What we are, especially the tribal states, what we are facing here is just minimal. So the natural calamity has a huge impact on agriculture productivity when it comes to, because whatever we are getting here is all through Assam only. So we have to refer back it to Assam. So the impact is high.
Okay, thank you. So another question we have. Where is it? Then another question is, what measures are taken for minimum support price in Northeast? What measures have been taken for providing minimum support price farmers in Northeast?
Especially when it comes to my state, there is no minimum support price. The government has not given anything. But apart from that, I should say the minimum support price might be applicable in Assam only. Here, no minimum price is there. Everything, it's not done by government.
Okay, thank you. Participants, if you have any question, you can immediately ask. Otherwise, we can wind up this session and we can move to next lecture.
No more, sir.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
We don't have any more questions, Ijung.
Yes.
I think you have responded nicely to all the questions raised by our participants. So I thank you for your nice deliberation on very important topic, that is agriculture marketing in Northeast India. So we feel that the outcome of the webinar will have important policy implications on the government of hilly states of Northeast India in providing various infrastructure facilities, marketing channels, as well as in providing minimum support price, which is very essential, I think, to assure that the farmer get at least remunerative prices for their product. So this will also, I think, act as an incentive for the farmer to grow and produce more output, as the region is hilly region is highly suitable and conducive for producing high value crops. It's not in horticulture crops and also the agricultural crops and vegetables particularly, and so and so. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation and also giving your time and delivering your important research findings. So we are very much thankful to you. You can stay online to
Surely I'll try. Thank you, everyone.
Share your experience with us. Thank you. Thank you. So now we will, without wasting much time, we shall move to another lecture, second lecture of the webinar. So we have among us Dr. Hemanta Mehti. Hello, Hemanta sir, are you online?
Yeah, I'm online. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you. Welcome to the webinar. So we have Hemanta Mehti, Dr. Hemanta Mehti from Manipur University. Sir is an associate professor in the Department of Economics, Manipur University. He has a vast teaching experience of more than 18 years. Sir has also served as a research officer in the National Family Health Survey, which we call in short NFHS. It's a very important survey to know about the health status of the people in the country during 2000 and 2002. He is specialized in population study. Sir has obtained his PhD degree in population study from International Institute for Population Science, Mumbai. He is trained in monitoring and evaluation of reproductive health at the University of Hawaii, United States. Currently, he is the secretary of Northeastern Economic Association, which is a association of the academician of the region. Sir has published a large number of publications in the reputed national and international journal. He has also presented more than 20 papers in national and international conferences and seminars. So I think Sir's deliberation will enlighten our knowledge, enhance our knowledge on population studies. So Sir will be talking on the topic demographic profile of Northeast India. So he has rightly chosen the topic. I think the topic is very relevant in the current scenario where the population of India is growing rapidly compared to other countries, and we are the second most populous country in the world. So, and the growth rate of population in India is higher than that in China, which is the most populous country. So it is expected that within 10 to 15 years, India population may surpass the Chinese population, and India may become the most populated country in the world. So population is considered to be both retarding as well as the promoting factor of development. So overpopulation is always putting pressure on the national resources, thereby increasing the incidence of poverty, unemployment, hunger, and malnutrition. So, and given the current scenario of COVID pandemic, it is found that most of the densely populated states and countries are badly affected. So population is one of the main factor. So apart from that, the overpopulation also creates problem in improving and providing good livelihood and good life to the people of the country. So there's a need for adopting measures to have the appropriate or optimum population, which we call. So I think the sir's deliberation will enlighten us about the demographic profile of Northeast India and how population can be controlled and met to contribute to the economic development and while improving the welfare of the people at large. So now I request Dr. Hemanta to start his deliberation. Platform is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Lama. It's very nice of you to talk, to introduce myself to the audience. I must be thankful to you and your organization and the distance mob, also distance education section. Thank you to all the participants and good afternoon. Well, today I'm talking on the demographic situation of the northeastern region. Lama, may I request you that how I can share my PowerPoint? Can you give me the sharing screen, that one?
Okay, Moir, are you online? Hello, Moir. Hello. Wait, Hemanta, wait for some time. The main coordinator is not online. I think I will call here for.
Yeah.
The number you have dialed is currently busy.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I'm requesting that how I can share my PowerPoints.
So you can go to share screen, sir.
Please make him co-host.
Yeah, I have clicked it.
Please make him co-host, madam.
So he's co-host. He's already co-host.
Okay. I'll. अच्छा हेमंत.
He just. उनका नीचे में ना share screen बोल के green button है.
Yeah, I have seen the icon. I'm clicking it over here.
You click it and then you will be shown desktop. Then desktop, click desktop, then you share.
Where is the desktop? Okay. Can you see it?
It's coming.
Yes,
it's coming.
Yes, sir. It's here, sir.
It's okay. Thank you, Moin.
Most welcome. I'm sorry for the delay. I was in a meeting. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Now, can I start?
Yes. Hemanta, please continue.
Yeah. So my topic is demographic situation of the northeastern region, and I have a few number of the slides, so I may not take that much of the time that you have given to me, Lama, so we can discuss later on. Now, the components of demographic study, basically demography is the scientific study of population, and it was first coined, the term itself was coined in 1855 by Achille Guillard. He is a Belgian statistician, of course, started from France. So the whole idea about this demography is a Greek words, two Greek words. Demos means people and then graphy means study. Now, the subject matter of the study of population comprises of the study of the size, composition, distribution of the human population for a given area in a given point of the time. So it also talks about the changes in the population size and the composition. And there are three main elements of population change and change in terms of the size and the composition. And these are nothing but fertility, mortality, and migration. And these, there are so many other socio-economic and other factors which are influencing the change in the fertility, mortality, and the migration. So ultimately, these are again leading to the change in the entire population size and the composition, and of course the distribution. Now, in short, we can summarize the study of population in terms of an equation which the demographers used to coin as the balancing equation, and this consists of Pt, that the population at a given point of the time t is equal to the initial population, that is P naught, plus births taken place between 0 to t time, minus deaths taking place between t to 0 to t time, initial period to the t time, and then in migration minus out migration. So this is the basis of and the basics of the demographic study. So whatever change that it is coming into all these elements are combined, and they can produce the demographic change as such. So why to study demography as such? Demography is important to understand, as I have earlier said, on the size, composition, and distribution, and now how these phenomena is governed by fertility and mortality, and then how all these factors are get affected by various other combinations of the factors in the society. That is what we do in demographic study. And therefore, some of the sociological foundations of the demographers, now they used to say that demography is everything, and nearly everything is connected to demography. So demographic study also addresses how the two basic variables, that is the age and the sex, which are we used to call the basic characteristics of demography, how these have a big implication by the fertility, mortality, and migration. So now in the short run, what we used to see is that how the population grows, how the size get affected, how the composition get affected, how the distribution gets affected. That is in the short run that we used to look at all these problems. Whereas in the long term, like the demographic change also has the impacts on the terminologies which we used to say as the demographic dividend, population aging, second demographic transition, and all these are again interlinked with the study of demography. So all these are again linked to the fertility, mortality, and the migration. In fact, the first demographic transition is affected mostly by the change in the fertility and the mortality. Now, let us see direct to what is the size and the distribution of the population in the Northeast altogether, but I have not done separately for the Northeast as such, but I have focused particularly for the all the 8 states which are under the NEC, and now that we can see how each of the states have the different demographic variables and the compositions that we have to see. Now, almost you can see that say right from 1951, we used to have some of the demographic basic data, but Arunachal Pradesh we don't have, but otherwise, we have some 7 remaining 7 states. And now what you can see is that it has a dramatic change from 1951 to 2011. Of course, now this 2021 is coming up, so how much it will get changed now, that all depends on the counts that is very much due in the next year, and hopefully that COVID may not affect it. This is showing that almost in all the states now, the change from 1951 to 2011 is nearly 5 times. So it's a huge change in the last, say, let's say the 60 years time, and 5 times of the population that it has changed. But that is relatively less in the case of the Assam. Now, Assam in the 1951, it was around 8 millions. Now it has changed to 31 millions in 2011. But otherwise, in almost all the states, now you can see that is a Manipur close to around 600, now 600,000. Now it has changed to around 29,000, 29 lakhs. Then Meghalaya, of course, from 600,000 to, you can see around 2 lakhs, sorry, 29 lakhs. Now that way that it has a big change that we can see over time. Now, what we also can see over here is that the growth rate over time, what I have presented over here is the so-called decadal growth rate, because otherwise for the demographers, we used to put the annual growth rate, annual exponential growth rate, but that I have not put it over here. Rather, I have just put for the simplicity the decadal growth rate. And now you can see over here in India, over the last 3 censuses, now you can see that growth rate has declined from nearly 24% in 1981-91 to almost 18% in 2001 to 2011. And then if you look at from that angle, in the northeastern states, there are many states which are having, I mean, much higher growth rate than this. Now look at, say for example, Arunachal Pradesh. Now look at Manipur, Mizoram. Now see Meghalaya, all these states have the much higher level of growth compared to the national level. Whereas look at Assam, for that matter, Sikkim and Tripura, these are the states having the lower growth rates. And to everybody's surprise that in 2011, we had the negative growth rate in Nagaland. We can't explain it. I mean, this phenomenon is very, very surprising for everybody. So now, putting question to me that you can ask yourself how these things are all happening in Nagaland. Now, some of the characteristics associated with the population. Now, look at the urban percentage urban population. This has improved a lot. In India, almost 1/3 of the population resides in the urban areas in 2011. And then, now if you look at from that perspective, Mizoram is the only state which is having half of the population living in the urban areas. Rest of the other places do not, other states do not have this much of the, I mean, opportunities to have the accommodated the population in urban areas. Assam is very pathetic. It is only 14% the people are living in the urban areas. Otherwise, most of the states are very much close to the national average. Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, these are the two, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and Meghalaya. These are the 2 states having the sluggish urbanization. And then if you look at the sex ratio in terms of the male, females per 1,000 male, now in this context, the northeastern states are doing far better than the all India average, except for the 2 states, Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh. Otherwise, I mean, all other states are having more than 950 around females per males. Now this is what we have seen, we can see the average. And in terms of the literacy, I should have presented in terms of the male and female, but I'm not doing that because of the conservativeness of the space. Now overall, we can see that literacy rate India is improving from 65% in 2001 to 73% in 2011 in all the states across the northeastern region. Now you can see that a massive change about 10 percentage points, that you can see that it is improvement in the literacy rate in the last 10 years between 2001 and 2011. Of course, Mizoram is very commendable, but otherwise, say look at the hilly states like Sikkim. And then again, if you look at say Tripura, the huge improvement in the literacy rate. But if you look at some other states, these are below 80%, that is Assam, Manipur, then Meghalaya and Nagaland. These are some of the states lagging behind. But I think that in the next 2021 census, if this trend goes on, then probably we will be touching close to around to some close to 90% of the population having literacy. Now, I'm trying to confine myself to the three basic factors of the population change, that is the fertility, mortality, and migration. Now, out of these three things, now I'm taking first fertility. It's not in terms of the importance, but I'm just taking it just like that only. So fertility in demographic terminology is implying the actual number of the births that a woman is having in her lifetime, and this is what we call the actual performance of birth. Now, this is what we call the fertility. But for common people, for those not specialized in demography, we also used to say a simple birth rate. The simple birth rate, it is defined as the number of the births per 1,000 population. So this is what we used to say. So there are many numbers of the measures of the fertility, but out of that I'm using two terminologies. One is called the age-specific fertility rate, and other one is what we call the total fertility rate. Now, age-specific fertility rate is that we divide the women in terms of the say age groups, and that is limited to the certain age group from 15 to 49. 15, usually it is saying that women are capable of giving birth, and now until the end of her menstrual cycle, that is the menopause, and this is what we have the upper age limit of around 49 to 50. So we have those specified the rates, that is what we call the age-specific rates, and then ultimately age-specific fertility rates will be combined into one very synthetic and very standardized measure that is called the total fertility rate. And this total fertility rate is showing us the number of births that a woman is going to have if she follows a given schedule of fertility, age-specific fertility rates, and she is surviving through from age 15 to. So this is what we have. The total fertility. All these things are presented in the slides to follow. Now, these are the some of the, age-specific fertility rates that we are able to get from the National Family Health Survey rounds. Of course, you may be, asking us that why we are not using the other sources. Other sources include the mostly the sample registration system, and this is the one that which is trying to give us the demographic indicators of births and deaths, but the details of these things are not available for the smaller states in most of the cases, and therefore we try to rely on the available information which are really of standard level, and this is why I'm using the National Family Health Survey rounds. Here I'm using National Family Survey round number 2, which occurred in 1998-99, and the other one is the 2015-16, that is National Family Health Survey round 4. Now from this, now I have shown to you the graphs of the age-specific fertility rates, and now you see that the blue line is showing you the age-specific fertility rates of the National Family Health Survey round number 4, and the orange line is showing you the National Family Health Survey held in 1998-99 and National Family Health Survey. Now, in all the states except for Assam, now you can see that according to the this National Family Health Survey, all these states are experiencing the decline in fertility. Now look at, say for example, look at Meghalaya, how fast it is changing. Look at Nagaland, fast changing. Look at Sikkim, how fast it is changing on the basis of this source of the data. Now Assam is the one that which is sticking to around almost a similar level, and in 2015-16 it was 2.21, whereas in total fertility rate, whereas in the National Family Health Survey to 1999, it was still around 2.31. So that was not so much of the variation that we had in the case of the Assam. Otherwise, in most of the cases, that it is all showing the decline in age-specific fertility rates, and that is why you can see that there is a decline in the total fertility rate in almost all these states over time. I'm showing you these things in the form of this slide, the total fertility rates in the northeastern region. I look at the change over time. It is very, what to say, following some kind of the trend. It's not so fast, neither nor too slow. Of course, depending, since this is a survey-based information, there is some ups and downs, no doubt, that we cannot explain it, because everybody will tell that it's because of the sampling. Now, can we say all those things to the sampling or not? Now, if we have to do that thing, we need to look at the confidence interval of these estimates. Then only we can compare these ups and downs in between. But in between, what you can see very clearly is that in the last 15 years, from 1998 to 1999 to 2015-16, you can see a continuous or consistent decline in fertility in all these states. Now, one interesting part in the total fertility rate calculation, which is included in the National Family Health Survey, is what they call it the total fertility rate under the planned manner, which they call it the wanted fertility rate. That means that, the births have occurred to the women, but these births, some of them are some sort of that it is, not so much well planned, or it is not, the parents were not so conscious about the number of the children that they actually wanted and the means that they can control their fertility. Of course, this is a very much part of the reproductive health, reproductive rights of the woman. This is what you can see, that in this context, if the people, or if the women of the Northeast, or for that matter for India as such, that if women are allowed to have a full control over her fertility, then definitely their desired level of fertility is less than what actually they have achieved. Now look at, say for that matter, look at the graph that I have shown to you. The blue line is the total fertility level. Actually, they have achieved it. And the orange line, bar, is the number of the children actually they desired it. But they overshoot. Almost all the states that the actual number overshoots the actually planned one. So how to attribute these things? Now, if at all that they were given the free hand to actually have the actual the planned number of the children, then probably we may not have that many of the children that we used to have at this point of the time. Now, let's say that, say Meghalaya for that matter, though it's not very much significant, still they say that if the women were given the free hand or full control over their fertility, then Meghalaya would have 2.8 number of the total fertility rate compared to actually observed 3. Now Manipur has around 0.3 difference. Assam, actually they had 2.2, but if women are given the opportunity, definitely they would have brought it down to less than 2. Arunachal Pradesh, you can see that it's a big change from 2.1 to 1.6. So this is how we can see that there is some kind of the discrepancy between actually observed and what actually should have been ideally if the women have been given the rights to choose what they actually wanted it. So now this is showing us that there in this region, the system can address to achieve the number of the children that the women want. So this is what you can see. Now falling into this argument, what one can also look at is that how can we achieve or fill in the gaps that actual and the desired number of the children. Now that we can do from the different angles. Of course, if the sexual relationship between the husband and the wife is now postponed, or if they don't meet each other, that is one side. If within the uniform and the normal husband and wife relationship, in that way of life also, how can we intervene to have the less number of the children? The means is what we call the choice of the contraceptives and the access and availability of the contraceptive methods that we can have. Now, in this context, I mean, you can see that half of the Indian women have already the contraceptive, any device of the contraceptive methods. Now, out of that, now you can see that what is the reason? 40% of the women who have use the contraceptive is very poor.
Hemanta, please unmute yourself.
What happens?
Please continue.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Continue now.
Okay. So now you see that, I mean, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, all these states, Arunachal Pradesh, they have the very very few number of the women using the contraceptive methods. Of course, this is very controversial, but no doubt that we can see all these things. Out of that, now contraceptive methods can be divided into modern and the traditional method. Our traditional method component is very big in the 3 states, like Assam, almost 15%, Manipur around 11%, and then Tripura is 21%. So the modern method component is not so big in these 3 states. So this is how we can see that the contraceptive use. Now, we have seen the number of the proportion of the women who have used contraceptive, but there are huge number of the huge chunk of the women not able to access to the contraceptive methods, and this is what the National Family Health Survey has called it the unmet need. Now, if you look at the unmet needs, it's a huge gap. You see that unmet need in the case of Manipur, 30% of the women are having the unmet need for the family planning. That means they require the family planning, but they are not using the family planning methods. Now, if you look at all the other states like Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, in all these states, 1/5 of the women are having the unaccess to the family planning services or methods. Now, this is slightly less in the case of the Tripura and Assam. Of course, from this, what we can say is that if the use rate is high, obviously, unmet needs is, slightly less. So this is what we can see. So, government can do, or as a population planner, what we can do is that we can address to the unmet needs of the contraceptive methods to all these states. Now, this is all about the fertility side. I'm coming towards the mortality side. Now, mortality side, or that one of the basic indicators of mortality is the death rate, and usually this is the number of the deaths per 1,000 population, and it is from the SRS, I have collected it. Now you can see that SRS bulletin is giving us the simple birth rates and death rates and infant mortality rates. Now from that you can see that the death rates over time in the Northeast India is relatively low, but these figures are not comparable. Okay, this measure itself is not a good measure for comparison, but this is showing us something about some totality of the figure. So now you can see that the figures are quite comparable to the national level, and more precise information on the mortality rates should be the age-specific death rates, and age-specific death rates is not readily available, and it's very difficult to get all these things. As those things are there in the SRS in some cases, but it's not so big in so many available in other states. Unfortunately, SRS also is focusing on the major states, around 21 major states that they used to focus. Otherwise, for the smaller states and the union territories, they have less number of the accommodation of this very specialized or well-detailed information on the measures of demography in India. Now look at the summary picture of the cause of death. Now I'm not taking it from the verbal autopsy that is collected from the collected by the Registrar General of India through the sample registration system. I'm not using that thing, but this one that I'm showing to is given by the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation, and it is showing us some broader picture of our country, and it's showing that by 2017, what is the biggest size contribution of the deaths in India. Now, earlier India was affected by the communicable diseases. Now, along with the communicable diseases, India is now affected by the non-communicable diseases. So for example, in 2017, ischemic heart diseases, this is nothing but our, coronary heart diseases. Then now these are all taking around the first position. That means of all the things, you can see that this one is taking the first position. Then COPD, chronically obstructive pulmonary diseases. Now this is some kind of the, respiratory kind of the diseases, and this is affected the second position. Stroke is rising to the third position compared to the 2007 ranking. Tuberculosis, lower respiratory system, and all these are coming up now. Lifestyle diseases are also coming up much faster. Say, look at the diabetes, look at the chronic kidney diseases. These are some of the non-communicable diseases which are coming up in the recent times. And we are happy to say that when look at the 2007, diarrhea was in the higher position. Neonatal disorder, this was in a higher position. Now this has gone down. So now India is having the mix of both the communicable and the non-communicable diseases. These are taking their lives away. These are some of the information that follow up of that one. This I'm just skipping it. Now look at the mortality situation. Now this is what you can see in the form of the life expectancy at birth. Now life expectancy at birth. Now in the case of Northeast India, life expectancy is being generated by from the life tables, but it is generated by the Registrar General of India. So we don't have this information for the smaller states. So now what I have done is that Assam, of course, they are having it for all the statistical reports and the life tables publication of the RGI. Now, beyond that, for the smaller states, since they are not having, I try to borrow it from the technical committees that projected population, that they have done this exercise in by 2002 or 2003, when around 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Then they had the committee to have the projection of the population from 2001 to 2026. Now from that, I just borrowed the figures, and now look at the thing that now the figures are showing that in Assam that they have the life expectancy for male and female. Now we have the female is having 60 in 2001 to 2005, and for male it is around 60. It's a 1 year gap only that they have. Now by 2025, male and female have grown up in Assam from to 67, and the other one is 69. Now in the case of the Northeast, other states combined, excluding Assam, now it has, I mean, come up from the 2001 to 2005, that's from 60, close to 67 for male to 71 for female. And by 2021 to 25, it is rising to, for male, it is towards 71, and for females, 75. It is a good number. And all India is some average that we have. And from these things, now we can see that mortality situation will be improving for the entire India and for Assam and the Northeast, other rest of the other states as well. So this is what we get for the mortality situation. Now, besides that, let's see, life expectancy is a big one. Now, next to that, complementary to that is the two indicators that we call the infant mortality rate and under 5 mortality rate. Now, if you look at this side, now you can see that infant mortality rate is now decreasing over time in the NFSS 2 and NFSS 4 for most of these states. Now look at Meghalaya, how much it has changed. Look at Arunachal Pradesh. Now they have changed a lot. Look at even the smaller rest of the other states. Now they have changed a lot. Even Assam, nearly 20 points. Now Arunachal Pradesh, nearly 40 points. These are all big numbers that we used to have, that improvements in this region because of the demographic, change or mortality change. Now, in summary, you can see that under 5 mortality is, infant mortality rate is the number of deaths of the babies less than 1 year old to the 1 lakh live births. Now, under 5 mortality is the number of the children, including all infants, who are below age 5 per 1,000 live births, how many of them are dying. So if you look at the figures, you can see that major contribution is to the under 5 mortality is coming from the infant mortality rate. Now, as a rule of thumb, now 2/3 of the infant under 5 mortalities are coming from the infant mortality rate. So this is what, not 2/3, I'm sorry for that. In other words, a huge component of under 5 mortality is coming from the infant mortality. Now, if you look at the change in the rate of change of the under 5 mortality from 2000, from NFSS 2 to NFSS 4 is a huge in the case of Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, and then in many of the states like even Manipur, and then you have the Sikkim. All these things are having the big change in the, or big improvement in the mortality situation of the children. Now, some of the other complementary information on the health of the population is, now we can measure in the form of the child indicators, child health indicators. Now, how many of the infants are born with the WHO guidelines below the WHO standard? Now, Arunachal Pradesh is having around 11% of the babies born below the weight of the 2.5 kg at birth. Assam 16%, and so on. Even Tripura is having huge number, and this, fortunately, in many of the states like Mizoram, Nagaland, they have the less number of the children born underweight in this case. Now look at the other two information on the basic vaccination of the children, immunization status. Now in India overall, according to the 2015-16 NFSS 4, 60% of the Indian babies, Indian infants or babies had the vaccination, full vaccination but this is still low in the case of Nagaland, in the case of Arunachal Pradesh. Even Assam also is having less number of the babies, infants. They should have got the vaccination, full vaccination, that they are lacking it. Now, how many of the children are having the nutritionally backward? Now you can see that is from the underweight. Now from the international standard of the 2 standard deviation below that one, that how many of our percentage of our children are having backward of the necessary requirements of the weights according to their age. Now this is, say, Meghalaya, almost 30% of the children, Assam and in Meghalaya, of course, they have the huge number of the children not having sufficient nutrition, and that is why a huge number of them are having the underweight children. Now, some other indicators for the women specific. Now, antenatal care, in some states they are very good, but some other states like Nagaland, I don't know why it is so less. Even Arunachal Pradesh is close to 60, but not so good compared to the all India level and other states. Now, for antenatal required visits also, Arunachal Pradesh is having very less, Nagaland is having very less. So these are some of the things that which we should focus. Almost all the pregnant women should have 100 iron and folic acid tablets. Now, this part is failing so much all India level and the region specific also. How many of the women are having the institutional delivery? Institutional delivery, according to the National Population Policy 2000, that 80% of all the deliveries should be supported by in the institutions, and all the 100% of the deliveries should be attended by the trained attendants. Now, in this case, except for Sikkim, other states are failing. They are not reaching to the level. Of course, Tripura is very close to 80% and Mizoram, but other states are not coming up to that level. Of course, say Arunachal Pradesh and Meghalaya, Nagaland, these are all lacking so much. Now, these are some of the indicators relating to health and the mortality. Now, I'm touching the last component, that is what we call the migration. Now, migration is always a complicated one, and if the world is a global village, migration problem would not have arisen. But since we have the boundaries, now I have used the migration in that context as a component of the change in the population. Now look at the 2011 census, that migration statistics. Migration has the components like this. Now you can see that the total number of the migrants on the basis of the place of birth data. Now you can see that there are many people who are counted in the state. Okay, there are two things that you can see, last two columns. Now you see that the first column is what you call what you can say that internal migrants coming to the states, and the last third column is the number of migrants going out of the state. Now look at the things over here. So now if you look at in that context, now Assam is having very huge number of the migrants, is close to around 6,70,000, okay, including the foreign and international migrants. Now you may disagree to these facts, but the census has given this, blame it on census. Now Arunachal Pradesh is having the entry of nearly 1,70,000 population across the other states of India, and nearly 15,000, or close to say that 15,600 people coming from, I don't know whether it is coming from Bhutan, maybe from China, maybe from Myanmar, I don't know, maybe from Bangladesh, I don't know. Foreign-born migrants are counted in Arunachal Pradesh. So if you look at in that angle, nearly 1,85,000 30,000 people are settled in Arunachal Pradesh in 2001 census, 2011 census, whereas only around 33,600 people moved out of Arunachal Pradesh and settled and collected their statistics in other states of India. Now, this is what you can say enumerated outside the state. This is what you call the out migrants, and huge number of the people from this side have moved out of the state, except for Meghalaya and Mizoram. Meghalaya, Mizoram, and even Nagaland. Nagaland also has a huge number of the people coming to their state compared to the people living there, and Sikkim also, and they have a large number of the people, chunk of the people. Now look at Tripura. See, internal migrants from Indian states is only around 86,000 population, whereas from foreign-born people, it is close to around 2 lakhs and 60,000 population that they have counted in Tripura. So huge number of the people incoming is much higher in these states, except for the states like, say, to some extent, Assam, but these plus minus will not be making much of the difference between the out migrants and in migrants. And then, of course, Manipur's context, there's 22,000 versus 83,000. So these are some of the states having the, I think it is only in Manipur. Manipur is the only one that having the larger population migrating to outside compare in the region. Otherwise, in all these states, now you can see that in migrants are, huge in these states. Now look at some of the statistics given by the 2011 census. Now you can see that why people move out of the state to some other states. Let's see the reasons for migration to other places, other states. Now, say there are people that, say in the case of the Assam, 24.4% of the people move out of the state to search something for employment in elsewhere. Say Manipur's case, it is 22%. In Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, around 16%. Tripura, Meghalaya, of course, around 14%. Tripura and Meghalaya around 16%. Now, educational reason is not so big. Migration, marriage is a big one. Now, we also see that there are many people who have been treated as migrants, but these are all because of the movement of the total households. Now, this is what you can see. There are so many other undocumented reasons in the census, which they club together as others. Out of that, many people also move out of the state. Now, look at the reasons for migration, reasons coming to the state and reasons coming out of the state because of the work and the employment. Now you see that many people have moved to these states. A huge amount are moving into these states, say Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura. Now all these are coming for some employment. It's a huge. Now look at the move along with the household. It is almost cancelling out. Now other reasons, you can see that is a huge number. Marriage, of course, is a big one. But from this data, what we can see is that in, say, Nagaland and Manipur and Assam, 10% of the total migrants coming to this state are for business. Now, many people, unfortunately, this is the unfortunate part, that look at the education column, you see that very less amount of the people are coming to our sides of the region for education purpose. That means we are the net exporters of the people who are counted elsewhere for education purposes. And this is a huge drain of our economy to other side of the people. Now, the whole issue is that the human capital formation that we did outside, are they coming back to the original states and do contribute to ourselves? While they were there outside, most of the resources are drained out. I mean, these are some of the policy matters that government and our
Hello, Hemanta sir. Hello, Hemanta sir. Hemanta sir, please unmute.
Can you hear?
Yes, yes, yes. There were some disturbances, so I muted all.
Oh, so now this is the few last section of my presentation. Now we have seen the importance and the extent and the size of the fertility, mortality, and migration. Now the combination of all these things are reflected in the population composition, and this is what we call the age structure of the population. Now it should have been given in terms of the sex also, but that part I'm not doing it. Now conserving the space, now I'm using only the total population. Look at the figures of the percentage age distribution, and it is a cross change in the last 20 years between 1991 and the 2011 census. Now you see that in all the states of the Northeast, one can see that there is a huge change in the age 0 to 14. Now, age 0 to 14, say in 1991, in Arunachal Pradesh, it was 40%. In 2011, it has reduced to 35.7%. Assam almost stands still, 31% to close to 33%. Manipur from 35% to 30%. Meghalaya, 42% to 39%. Mizoram, now all these are now declining. So where have this decline been compensated? Is it increasing to the 60 plus? Now look at these things. 60 plus population is also increasing in 2011, but not so much compared to the 1991 population. So this is where now you can see that the major shift also is associated with the age 15 to 59. Now look at the 0 to 4. What contributes to that? Over time, we have seen earlier that our life expectancy has increased. That means our longevity has increased. That means for those, even infant mortality has also decreased over time. So now in that context, if we keep on having the number of children as much as what we did in 2011, we will be having larger number of the size of the proportion of the population in 2011, but that is not happening. So this implies that our fertility has declined over time, and it is consistent. Now, second part is that since 60 plus population doesn't change that much, so major shift is coming in the age group 15 to 59. So therefore, this is where all the demographers and economic demographers are all saying that this is what we call the demographic dividend. Now, this means that the working age population is increasing in this phase, in this phase. So the issue or the challenge in front of is that are the states in this region having adequate policies and opportunities to tap these population of 15 to 59 who are in the working age population. So population is shifting. So therefore, now if we don't have that kind of the good policies, now they will be going to 60 plus up to some time, and 60 plus means they all will be dependent and they may not be able to contribute as much as what they could have in the 15 to 59 population. And this is a major policy shift that this independently of the Indian state, India India's policy as such, the states should have their own policies to tap the opportunities. Otherwise, these opportunities will be a mirage that it will vanish after some time. So one has to take care of this very carefully. Now look at some of the indicators which I have used from the projected population of the India by the technical committee for 2001 to 2026. Now the summary information is given over here, and you see that. Can you hear me, Lama?
Yes, yes, please continue. It's very clear.
So now you see that these indicators are all showing as is that this is for Assam. Assam's crude birth rate is declining. Now look at this, I mean your right hand side of the panel of the table, and then you can see that infant mortality, under 5 mortality, total fertility, all these are declining. Life expectancy also is improving over time. This same information you can get. Now look at the left panel of the table. Now look at the population by broad age group. Now this in terms of the proportion, now you can see that 0 to 14, okay, it is declining over time from 2001, 37.4 to by 2026, it is going down to 24. And now the 15 to 59 is increasing. So this is a big change that one has to see, and this is for the rest of the I mean other states other than Assam, excluding Assam. Now this also is changing I mean very how to say, in the way that what we have seen very prospectively, right? So now look at the indicators of the age and the sex change over time. Now this is for Arunachal Pradesh, and this is what we call the population pyramid. Population pyramid is nothing but the graphical representation of the age and the sex structure of the population. If you look at the orange side, the right side of the pyramid, it represents the females, and the left side, blue one, is representing the male section. Now look at Arunachal Pradesh. You see that in 1991, now the last last bar of 0 to 4 age group is that it is close to around 8 in both sides, but in 2011 it is just above 5 in both the cases. So this is the change that you can see. Now look at the 70 plus population over there. The size is improving in the state as well. So this is showing a fundamental fact that we are changing, the population is changing. The same way, now this change in the structure you can see in Assam also. Okay, this is close to 7. Now it is around 5 only, and then the upper one is now bulging out. So now even Sikkim, it's a big change. It's looking like from a pyramid, from a triangle shape, it is now coming towards a top, that the toy top. Okay, and this is what you can see in the Sikkim. Look at Tripura, even it is changing so fast. Now Nagaland, in fact, it is changing from 6 to nearly 5. You see Mizoram, not so much. Okay, it is changing so fast. Even Meghalaya doesn't have that much of the perceptible change, but it is changing. Manipur, huge change that you can see. So these are some of the things that you can see in the demographic analysis of the region as such. Now, from this, what we can conclude is that the pyramid all these pyramids have shown that there is a potential change in the age structure of the region, and in all the states, 20-year gap has proven the fact that young population has declined over time, and this is showing in many of the things. And this is the result of the two fundamental reasons: fertility and decline in fertility and improvement in longevity. And this has in fact produced the increase in the number of the aged population in the long run. It's obvious. Now we should think about how we can take care of our aged population in the near future, in our time when we are getting older to when we get retired. Now the situation may be quite changing. This, when we plan for the population, we need to take into account of these changes very carefully. Thank you, Lama. Thank you for your, opportunity to speak in such a huge webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Hemanta sir. Thank you. We are very much thankful to you, Hemanta sir, for your very nice and scholarly deliberation on this webinar. So I hope your expertise in the field of demography has definitely enlightened and enhanced the knowledge of our participants. You have dealt with the issue very extensively, beginning from the population growth rate and the size of population of various states of Northeast India to the growth rate, as well as the mortality, fertility, age-specific this fertility rate, as well as the various indicators as shown in the population census and also in the National Family Health Survey. So your deliberation has greatly enhanced our knowledge on the population behavior of the entire northeastern states. So your deliberation could show us the cause for higher growth of population in Northeast India. So you have also shown that there has been improvement in the life expectancy as well as decline in the death rate. However, your deliberation has shown that there has been some issues related to the fertility rate. Fertility rate, though it has declined, but there has been certain issue as the wanted fertility is higher than the that is, actual fertility is higher than the wanted fertility in all the northeastern states, which you ascribed it to the low use of these family planning devices and contraceptives. So this may be because of the lack of awareness among the population of northeastern states, as many states have quite low literacy rate, below 80% or 70%. And finally, you touch the age pyramid of the population, in which you have shown that there has been decline in the population in the lower age group, that is age group of 0 to 4, which implies decline in the birth rate, which is a good indicator of population control measures, and also increase in population in the 15 to 59 age group, which you considered as a demographic dividend, which can help to promote development. And you have also rightly pointed out that there could be increase in population in the age group of 60 plus, so which calls for policy formulation to take care of this aging population in near future. So we are very much thankful to you, sir, for your excellent and scholarly deliberation. Now I would like to request participants to put some questions if you have any doubt. Participants, please. Those who want to ask question, please unmute yourself and you can put your question on any issue. One participant has put question on the chat box. that is, he is from Telangana, Kanakai. Child marriage are practiced in Meghalaya. So how this system could affect the women empowerment in the Northeast? Child marriage in Meghalaya and its impact on women empowerment. Hemanta sir, please.
Yeah, well, child marriage, in fact, this is the age-old custom, probably, because I mean, this may not be practicing in many of the states of the Northeast region, but unfortunately, it is happening in Meghalaya. It's a very, it's also a good information to me to understand that child marriage is well practiced in Meghalaya. But that shows our human development as such, because now child marriage is a practice that is socially that we have to make. Now we all know that there are rules and regulations also, and also that which should prohibit the child marriage, but nevertheless, now this is happening. That means that we, or knowingly or unknowingly, when the children are get married, then probably they don't have the much say, because without having their consent, I don't know. I mean, the parents are doing it, so that will be a big thing there. And that part, what we can see is that give them good education, and that itself is the empowerment. Education doesn't mean only for the women. Education should also be for the entire population, inclusive of both the male and female. Now that should be the process of the social transformation, and that itself will lead to the empowerment. If you are concerned so much of the empowerment, where are the NGOs, so-called the civil societies, who can take up these issues and take care of the issue of child marriage, and they can act on this. They can book the people, and they can give it to the things. Now, when I was in some time back, even in the Hindi belt states, now this was quite rampant in mostly in the western part. You can say, even say, to be very precise, even in Rajasthan and other things. But now things are all changing. Now, when we are superimposing our own culture to somebody's culture, that may not be able to explain the phenomenon so clearly. Now, why people are so much adamant to change? Why their attitudes are so much in some 50 years back, that kind of the situation, that I mean the social activists, they should come into the place, because the law is there, the act is there. Why they are not acting on that? That I should say that thing. So empowerment, of course, we need to look at the so-called those communities where such practices are ongoing. Now, in those societies, we need to give them a good education and the spread of the modern way of life. So that transformation needs to be done. I don't know whether I mean, she or he is able to satisfy with this.
Hemanta, thank you, Hemanta sir, for your response. We have another question. That is, does Malthusian theory of population has relevance or useful in contemporary time?
Of course.
Asked by Sunuwar Hussain.
Now, who has refuted the Malthusian proposition? Malthus may not be so much. You may disagree. Malthus may not be, a Malthusian proposition may not be acting so much, but theoretically it has the relevance. Why? Because now, if it is not true, then why the developing countries are so much forcefully enforcing the so-called family planning program? Now, look at the family planning program itself has been denounced by many of the countries around the world. Even the United Nations has said that now it has recoined the terms in the more inclusive form as the reproductive health, okay, where choice matters a lot and where rights are very, very important. So in this context, Malthusian theory is very, very relevant in the developing country, though the strict sense of the Malthus or the propositions that Malthus may not be operating in that magnitude, but we should try to accommodate the ideas that Malthus has given, because how population is having a nexus with development. Today, you may say that, I mean, people are well aware and all those things that you may say, but despite all these things in the process of development, we are compromising so much with the environment. Why it is so? Of course, these are the things that Malthus has given us his own ideas on that. So I should tend to say that Malthusian proposition may not work, but his ideas are very important and we should accommodate it.
Thank you, sir. I hope the participant has got it. And one more question, I think it is from Prem Chandra. Sir, is there any data available regarding difference between migrant and local populations' fertility and mortality rate?
Very difficult. Migrant question that you can attempt to see from the census data released last year, okay, for 2011. You see that data collected in 2011 February, released in September 2019. Okay, now they have the different tables, D1 to D9, if I remember correctly. Look at all those tables and you can find some of the answers. But specific kind, these migrant specific kind of the fertility and the mortality, I don't think you have to do your own research on that.
Thank you.
Hello. Hemanta sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have no more questions. I think we are also getting late. So
thank you.
Very much thank you to you for your celebration. Thank you. Please be online. We will have last lecture. Thank you. So now we are going to have last lecture of today's webinar. So we have among us Dr. Amiya Sarma from Guwahati University. Hello, Amiya, are you online? Hello. Dr. Amiya. Hello.
Hello, Lama.
Are you online?
Yeah, I am online.
Please on your this camera, video.
Okay.
Now you are coming. Okay. So welcome to the Zoom platform.
Thank you.
I, on behalf of Rajiv Gandhi University, Institute of Distance Education, and the Department of Economics, extend heartfelt welcome to Dr. Amiya Sarma, Senior Assistant Professor from Department of Economics, Guwahati University, Assam. So before I request him to start his deliberation, I would like to give a brief introduction of Dr. Amiya. Dr. Amiya Sarma is a Senior Assistant Professor in the Department of Economics, Guwahati University, Assam. He obtained his PhD degree in Infrastructure Economics from Guwahati University, and he has published a good number of research papers in reputed international and national journals. He has also presented more than 20 papers in national and international conferences, and currently he is also the assistant editor of a reputed peer-reviewed journal, Assam Economic Review. So today, Dr. Amiya shall be dealing with the prospects of economic development in Assam in the coming decades. Assam is one of the largest economy of Northeast India, and among the other states of India, Assam is basically blessed with abundant land resources, fertile alluvial soil for agricultural development, and also it is considered to be the gateway to other hilly states of Northeast India. In fact, you can say that Assam is the leader of all other 8 states of Northeast India. So I request Dr. Amia to start his deliberation. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Lama, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. I also welcome all the participants. Actually, I am talking about the prospect of Assam economy in the coming decade. Before going to the discussion, let me tell you that I shall be speaking the development story of the economy of Assam. But the development history of most of the northeastern states of India is more or less similar. So, as and when I say about the development history of Assam, you may imagine about the development history and development perspectives of the other economies of the north. And I think we are already behind schedule, so I will be very brief in my presentation. So we start from the time of independence. At independence, Assam economy had a dualistic structure. Dualistic structure in the sense that we had an agricultural sector and some sort of modern industrial.
Amia, Dr. Amia, hello. Dr. Amia, please unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible. Somewhat, you are somewhat far from your PC, I think. Just you can go close to your PC. Voice is.
I am okay. I am using my mobile phone. So is it clear now?
Okay, okay.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, clear. If you have PPT, you can share it.
So actually, I have a technical issue with my laptop, so I can share after the lecture. I cannot show you right now.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
You have to hear me. Okay. Is it okay, Lama?
Yes, yes, okay.
Okay. So I was talking about Assam economy, and I was talking that though I am saying about Assam economy, one can easily generalize the ideas or development perspectives of Assam economy to all other northeastern states, because more or less the economy of all other northeastern states are similar. So we just start from the time of independence. So at the time of independence, Assam economy had a dualistic structure. As perhaps we all know, that dualistic structure of economy means we have on one hand the agricultural sector, and the other hand we have the industrial sector. So Assam economy was also having a dualistic structure of the economy at the time of independence. We have the modern industrial sector, which was comprised of the tea plantation and manufacturing, coal mining, oil mining, refining, and some forest-based units. However, on the other hand, the vast majority of the population were dependent on agriculture, whose growth in the pre-independent period came mainly from area expansion. Means there was hardly any improvement in technology in agriculture. So we have only growth in the agricultural sector coming from expansion of areas under cultivation. So obviously, the living standard of the masses, because most of the people were dependent on agriculture, and agriculture was not that developed, and therefore the standard of living of the people, most people, was very poor. Post-independence, after independence, what happened? The economy of Assam faced some serious setbacks, originating from some exogenous and some endogenous processes. Exogenously, first of all, we know about the partition of the country at the time of independence. So that partition of the country virtually isolated the state by cutting its links to rest of India and the world. And the result is that there was increased cost of movement of men and materials to and from the state, resulting in reduced profit prospects of investment. So consequently, the investors were reluctant to invest in the economy of Assam, and the industrial sector the second exogenous.
Sir, no video, no voice, sir. Sir, your voice and video both are not coming.
Hello, sir. Lama, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Am I audible now? Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible now.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for this.
No, no, perfectly all right.
So I was talking about the problems faced by the economy of Assam after independence. I suppose you all you have heard about the problems at the time of independence, right? So I was saying that at the time of independence, Assam was having a dualistic structure where there was the agricultural sector and the industrial sector, but the industrial sector was not much developed. At the same time, agricultural sector was also not that developed. So the standard of living of the masses was very poor. Okay, that much you have heard, I think. Is it okay? Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, okay. So I was saying that after independence, the economy of Assam again faced some problems originated from some exogenous and endogenous processes. So first, the partition of the country during the time of independence virtually isolated the state by cutting its link with rest of India and with the neighboring countries, and resultantly there was very increased cost of movement of men and materials to and from the state, resulting in reduced profit prospects of investments. And as profit prospects are very low, therefore investors were not very much enthusiastic in investing in the state of Assam, and consequently the industrial sector of the economy was affected. So second exogenous factor that was hampering the economy of Assam was that after partition of the country, the economy of Assam experienced influx of refugees from the neighboring countries that actually aggravated the already distressed economy of the state. Meanwhile, some social tensions surfaced out of the identity aspirations of the tribes of hill districts, and most of the hill districts of the state were set from Assam to accommodate their identity aspirations. More recently, there are some other series of tensions. Basically, the tensions that have surfaced as an offshoot of preparation of National Register of Citizens, NRC, we all know it, and the introduction and implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Bill of 2016, which was becoming Citizenship Amendment Act erstwhile. That social environments actually were not conducive to economic expansion of the state. However, fortunately, after 1990, after the liberation measures was taken by the Indian economy, the economy of Assam started receiving enhanced inflow of central development funds to overcome its various difficulties, various backlogs in infrastructure, infrastructure and basic services, and to put resources in development activities. So as part of that, some actions towards connectivity improvements in the state have also been enhanced under the Act East policy. Previously it was Look East policy, now it became as an Act East policy. So under this policy, fund devolutions were experienced by the state government and various connectivity improvements activities were done in the region, in the state of Assam, profiling its development perspectives. And in the present time, the ongoing menace of this coronavirus pandemic would certainly have some negative impacts on the economy of the state, along with the world economy as a whole. But at this time, since the pandemic is going on, so it is not possible to exactly tell what will be the actual loss to the economy of the Assam as well as to the economy of India and the world economy. Anyway, so we have got some mixed experiences. We have some positive aspects of the Assam economy. We are getting more funds, more disbursements of funds for connectivity improvements and various flagship programs. But at the same time, we have some flip sides based on the social tensions arising out of NRC, CAB, coronavirus pandemic. So among these mixed experiences, I would like to report the growth prospects of the state in the coming decade.
Amir sir, not audible, sir. Unmute yourself, sir.
Hello, Amir sir, you are not audible. Hello, sir.
Host, please intervene. Please find out the problem. Please fix it.
Okay. So, dear participants, there is a technical issue. Bear with us.
Yes, yes. Come, I think. Sir, please mute yourself once or twice, sir. It may catch it.
Diamond 3237.
Lama sir, please come in, sir. Lama sir, you're not there in. Sir, please take over. Sir is not audible. Amir sir is not audible. Please, Lama sir.
Please bear with us.
Organizers, someone please intervene. We are not able to listen to Amir sir. We are not able to listen to the lecture, sir.
Lama.
Vandana ma'am, even Amia sir is not seen.
There's no sound. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear each other except the host and the speaker.
Okay, I'll just find out.
One of us can hear.
I'll just find out.
Okay. I think we're all there except Amir Sharma is the co-host now. You can go ahead, sir. You will be okay now. This.
Amir sir, please continue.
वो तो बोल रहा था.
Lama sir has come.
अरे उसका लेक्चर तो स्टार्ट हो गया था.
Please tell now. 15 minutes.
Lama sir's mic is on, ma'am. Ma'am, Lama sir's mic is on.
वो तो बात लेक्चर दे ही रहा था.
15 मिनट से नहीं है.
वो कट गया होगा लिंक.
हाँ, but वो लोग सब लोग बाकी लोग बोल रहे हैं. वंदना मैम, can you hear us? Please ask Lama.
Hello, good morning to all. Good afternoon. I think
Yes,
our
sir.
expert has lost his link, so please bear with us for some time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, Lama sir. Amir sir is there, but he is not audible, sir.
Actually, his video is there. His audio is,
Yes,
is
sir.
out of scene. Yeah.
You have to unmute.
Hello, Dr. Amia.
Dr.
Hello.
Amia's video is available, not the audio, sir. You have to call him on phone and ask him to enable the audio, please.
Okay.
Yes. I'm a participant, ma'am. That's it. I'm just a
Okay.
participant.
Sorry.
It's okay, ma'am. It's okay.
क्या प्रॉब्लम है? उनका डिस्टेंस का आदमी कोई नहीं है क्या? म्यूट करो यार.
Hello. Hello.
Amir.
Yes, sir. You have come, sir, just now.
Now it's okay.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay.
I think last 5 minutes you
I'm
have
very
to
sorry.
read
I'm very sorry.
It's fine, sir. The last 5
I'm
7
very
minutes
sorry
you have to
because of the network problem. Yes. So I was talking about the growth trends of Assam economy in terms of data on net state domestic product and per capita net state domestic product of Assam at constant prices. So if you check the data on net state domestic product NSDP and NSDP per capita at constant prices, you can easily find that the economy of the state of Assam grew at a steady average rate till the year 2012-13, beyond which the economy grew more rapidly. NSDP of the state grew at an increasing rate during 2004-5 to 2019 with an average annual growth rate of 5.4%. However, the growth rate decelerated thereafter up to 2012. Maybe the fallout of the general slowdown following the global financial crisis of 2008 We all know about the global financial crisis of 2008, because of which the whole world economy was decelerating at the time and afterwards. And accordingly, Assam economy was also adversely affected because of that global financial crisis. Fortunately, the state economy again caught up the increasing growth trend. During the period 2010-11 to 2016-17, beyond this period, a very encouraging growth rate.
You're getting stuck, sir. Your video has got stuck. Amia, sir. Audio, video both got stuck.
Both have got stuck.
Sir, Amia, sir has to change the place. Make change in your seating place where signal is better. Vandana, I have seen.
I'll tell him, just a sec.
Hello. Hello.
Lama, sir, yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Dr. Amia, have you completed? Hello.
Call up Amia, sir, that he's stuck. Both his video as well as his volume both are stuck. Just call him up and say he should change the direction.
Net ka problem is.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello.
Amia.
Hello.
Now it's visible. You can continue.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes. There is some network problem,
Okay,
I think.
I'm very sorry. Right. So I was talking about the growth trends of Assam economy, and I am comparing the growth rate of Assam economy in terms of NSDP per capita of Assam with that of Indian economy. Okay. So if you compare the per capita of Assam with that of per capita income of the Indian economy as a whole, we find that the Indian Assam economy is lagging far behind that of the country as a whole over the years. So this clearly suggests the relative backwardness of the economy of
Lama, sir,
Assam
it is not
compared to the
audible.
Indian economy. Moreover, there is also a widespread disparity in development attainment within the state of Assam. Some areas of the state and some communities are lagging behind in terms of education, health, income, and other economic indicators. And some other regions or some other districts, other communities developing at a relatively high rate. Again, the unemployment rate per 1,000 person or person days in the labor force was as high as 50 in usual status in the state compared to the national figure of 27, which is again aggravated during the ongoing COVID pandemic. Now, if we see the growth trend in the agricultural sector, then we find that agriculture in Assam happens to be the largest contributor to NSDP as an individual component of all the three broad sectors. We have the three broad sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. And among all these broad sectors, we have subsectors, and agriculture as a subsector is the largest contributor to NSDP. This clearly indicates the relative importance of agricultural economy to the state economy of Assam. Again, the share of the primary sector to the gross state domestic product of the state has declined over the years. However, share of the primary sector to GSDP, which is almost 30%, is still much higher as compared to the share of the sector to GDP of the country as a whole. which accounts for around 17%. So from this data, we can see that the transformation of the Assam economy is very less compared to the economy of the country as a whole. What is transformation? Transformation means as an economy develops, the share of the tertiary sector goes on increasing, and share of the agricultural sector and the primary sector goes down. So this is happening in Assam economy and in economy of India as well. But the contribution of the agricultural sector and primary sector to GSDP in case of Assam is still very much higher compared to the Indian economy. Therefore, we can say that there is a structural transformation in the Assam economy, but the structural transformation is lower, relatively lower than that in the Indian economy as a whole. In the industrial front, the share of the secondary sector in GSDP of Assam accounts for around 21% in 2015-16. But it has improved to some extent over the years, but it is still lower than all India share of 29%. In all India level, the share of secondary sector is 29%, but the state economy of Assam is industrial sector's contribution is 21%. So relatively, the industrial sector of Assam is backward. The industrial sector consisting of the manufacturing, mining, electricity, gas and water supply has shown some signs of improvement since 2011-12. Though it is less than the all India level, but it is showing some signs of improvement. This is very encouraging. So now if we come to the services sector, we find that as in the national economy of India, the services sector has become the dominant component of the economy of Assam also. The share of this sector to state GSDP is approximately 48% in 2015-16. And out of the different subcomponents of services sector, subcomponent trade, hotel and restaurant services is constituted storage and communication services. This component constitutes nearly a half of the services sector. So these two components, subcomponents, one is trade, hotel and restaurant services, and the other one is the transport, storage. So this is a positive where the economy is plagued by the serious problem of unemployment, and these two subsectors are relatively more employment intensive. So growth in these two sectors has a promise to create employment opportunities for millions of youths. Okay, so this is a very positive feature in case of Assam economy. So based on this data, we can have an outlook for the economy. We have some positive outlook, and obviously there are some flip sides. In the positive side, the growth rate of the economy has maintained an overall upward trend. This is positive. Industrial sector has had a revival in the last few years. Again, a positive outlook. The services sector, which now comprises nearly a half of the economy, has a robust composition with employment-intensive subsectors, maintaining their dominance over it. Again, another indication of social and economic transformation of the rural economy of the state. Again, some rural connectivity improvements were seen in the economy of Assam, driven by some penetrative implementation of flagship programs like Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So this type of Yojana programs has had a catalytic role in this process of rural transformation. Obviously, there are some negative outlook in the flip side. What are the negative outlooks? The first negative outlook is that some social tensions have been prevailing from actions to update the National Register of Citizens and amendment of the Citizenship Amendment Act. Again, the ongoing COVID pandemic that has injected a negative shock to the state economy along with the world economy. In relation to this COVID pandemic, we can say that if you look at the data published by some international organizations like International Monetary Fund, we see that the International Monetary Fund predicted the shrinkage of the world economy during 2020 by almost 3%. The same IMF report predicted that India will be able to end the year with a mild positive rate of growth of only 1.9%. So obviously, this will be having some adverse effects on the economy of Assam. Since the pandemic is yet to come under control, it is still early to infer about the probable damage that the pandemic may create to the state economy. But based on the job loss reported in Center for Monitoring Indian Economy reports, some experts have estimated that about 30 lakh workers' livelihood will be affected in Assam, and there was a shrinkage of the economy by 15 to 20%. So obviously there will be very serious effects of this pandemic on the economy of Assam. Agriculture to services sector, growth of services subcomponents like trade, hotel and restaurants, and transport and communication services. So these are all positive prospects. Again, transformation from farm to non-farm sector, improvements in connectivity. These are all positive aspects. So all those positive aspects of the economy of Assam may turn bleak if the pandemic continues further for longer periods. If you assume that the effects of the pandemic would come under control and policies should be taken for making up for the losses which are very much employment intensive. Apart from this, a conducive social atmosphere is also essential for all sections of population of the state to profit from emerging opportunities. So government has a role. Government has to create a conducive social atmosphere which can satisfy all sections of the population of the state. A very conducive social and economic environment that may also have some promise to the economy of Assam in near future. And developments in the other direction may divert the ecosystem from the much needed activities required for the forward march of the state in the years to come. Thank you very much. Hello. 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 Hello.
Sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, if you have any query, I will try my best to answer it. Hello. Are you here?
Sir, tell me.
Okay.
So, dear participant, if you have any query, then you can ask. And you can ask through a chat box also.
the connection was disrupted several times. I'm very sorry because of some net state was happening. But I think you are getting the information.
Hello.
Hello?
Amir sir, have you completed?
Yeah, I have already completed. If you the participants have any question, then I can answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now I request the participants to please put some questions if you have any doubt and query. You can ask by unmuting your mic, or you can just put in the chat box.
Thank you, sir. Lama sir, thank you. Thank you, Sharma sir. Sir, I had a question. Where does Assam exactly start in among the states? What is our growth rate when we compare to all the Indian states and the national growth rate, sir? Where do we exactly stand for the time being?
Yeah, actually, very recently there was only any exact estimation is not possible, but I think it is below 2% now. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Before the pandemic, Assam economy was growing at a rate of 5.9%
Sir.
in terms of NSDP at constant prices. But during this, after this, or during this pandemic, there was no such estimate. Therefore, it is not possible to say what is the exact rate at which the economy is growing.
I'm sorry, sir. Another question actually related to NRC. How much NRC is going to impact our economic growth, sir? Assam's economic growth. Any assessment?
Yeah, obviously NRC will impact on the economy because it is prepared for identifying the actual
Little weaker connection.
So, but if you look at the economic system, then you can find that as and when NRC is prepared, some of the people were going out of the state and some were coming into the state, and therefore there will be a change in the proportion of working population, and therefore obviously there will be some impact on the economy of Assam as well as in the.
Thank you, sir.
Lama sir, kindly unmute your audio, sir.
Oh, sorry. Hello, Dr. Amia. We have one question in the chat box from Gadapani Sharma. How people can overcome COVID-19 and present flood situation in Assam? I think Dr. Amia is having very poor net connectivity. So please bear with us. Hello, Dr. Amia. Dr. Amia.
Hello.
Hello,
hello, Lama.
Okay, you're connected. So one more question in the chat box. How people can overcome COVID-19 and present flood situation in Assam? It's just general question.
Yeah, how to control COVID-19, that is a matter of medical kind of thing. Okay, so, but yes, another very serious problem in Assamese flood which is going on. So for that, some systematic models are required, some systematic dynamic models through which we can manage this problem is required. And experts are now working on finding out that model, dynamic model. Dynamic model in the sense that parameters will go on changing with the changing environment. Okay, how much people will be affected by flood, how they can be evacuated before the flood, how they can be informed. All those things will be included in a model, and that type of dynamic model is required. And geographers, hello, Lama. Hello.
Hello.
Lama, is there any other question?
There is no question. Participants can put one question, last question, and we will wind up the session. If you have any question, participants. So there is one more question, last question. I think this will be last question.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
This last question I'm going
Hello.
to last question.
Okay.
One question, last question, and we will wind up the session.
Okay.
Will Assam economy be revived in the next few years?
Hello.
Will Assam's economy be revived in the next few years?
Yes, this is a very good question, but very difficult to answer. Now the entire pandemic is going on, and we are not knowing anything when the economy will come into normalcy. So how much time will be required for normalcy to come back? So if the normalcy come back very early, then it will not be very difficult to revive the economy of Assam again to its earlier trend. If that is not possible, then it will be harder to get back to that growth rate of Assam before the pandemic. And it is very early actually to opine whether in the next years or next economy will come into normalcy. So how much time will be required for normalcy to come back? So if the normalcy come back very early, then it will not be very difficult to revive the economy of Assam again to its earlier trend. If that is not possible, then it will be harder to get back to that growth rate of Assam before the pandemic. And it is very early actually to find whether in the next years or next economy will come into normalcy. So how much time will be required for normalcy to come back? So if the normalcy come back very early, then it will not be very difficult to revive the economy.
The same thing echoing again and again.
Hello, Lama sir. Can you hear me, Lama sir?
हाँ बोलो.
Oh sir, actually वो सुनाई नहीं दे रहा sir.
हाँ सर का वो लिंक बहुत स्लो हो रहा है.
Yeah.
बहुत connectivity. So I'm
Okay,
not.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
That was the last question. So that was the last question to Dr. Amia. So we are going to wind up this session and today's webinar. So I, on behalf of the Institute of Distance Education and Department of Economics, would like to thank all the dignitaries who were there in the inaugural session. I thank Professor Saket Kushwaha, Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University, Sri Taba Tedir, Education Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Pro Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University, Professor Amitav Mitra, Professor Tomo Riva, Registrar of Rajiv Gandhi University, and all other dignitaries, faculty members for being with us during the inaugural session. And I would also like to extend my special thanks to 3 external experts, Professor Izung, Dr. Hemanta Mete, and Dr. Amia Sharma for giving us their valuable time and also for their excellent and scholarly deliberation. I hope their deliberation has greatly enhanced the knowledge of our participants on various issues being faced by the northeastern states of India. I thank all the members of the organizing committee for their efforts and hard work in organizing and making this webinar a successful one. My special thanks to all the participants for their kind cooperation during the webinar and also following all the norms and rules of this webinar by keeping their mics off and also for putting valuable and relevant questions to the experts. So with this, today's webinar will come to an end, and tomorrow we will have another webinar on other subjects. So interested participants can log in the webinar using the link. So once again, I thank all of you from the Rajiv Gandhi University. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Is there any feedback, sir? Lama sir?
Thank you, sir.
So
Lama
feedback will be sent by the organizer in due course of time. Please wait for it. It will be sent in your WhatsApp or email. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will be ending the meeting for today. The same link will be used tomorrow for the one-day seminar on education. So anyone who is interested to link, please join the WhatsApp group for education and join us tomorrow at 9:30. There's a change in time. Education, we are starting at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Subsequently, next day there would be English, but we will be using the same link for the ease of everyone. The same link, please save it. And anyone who has not joined the WhatsApp group, please do it immediately so that it's easy to communicate with each other. Thank you so much. I can see Vandana ma'am still there. Ma'am, thank you so much for being with us throughout the program. It's such an encouraging moment.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. So we'll all see you all tomorrow again at 9:30 a.m. And the feedback link, I repeat, would be shared in the WhatsApp group. For all interested, the feedback link will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.
Hello, madam.
Stay home, stay safe, everyone.
Madam, one doubt. Hello.
Yes, please.
Madam, this because we have registered almost 3 to 4 subjects. So right now it is a WhatsApp group is there now. Today's WhatsApp group. From there we will connect now.
Just a minute, sir. I can hear you. Just give me a moment. Can you repeat that, sir?
Regarding how to join for tomorrow's session.
Oh, okay. The session is the same link which you used today. You can join by the same link.
Thank you.
But the feedback form would be in the WhatsApp group, sir. Feedback form.
Right.
For
Thank
that, you need to be in the WhatsApp group. Right. And the password is today's date, 220720. The meeting link, and then the password is 220720, the date of the inaugural. for the ease of everyone. Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. I'll see you hopefully again at least at the valedictory, ma'am. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Thank you. Thank you to all the speakers. I repeat, stay home, stay safe.
Okay,
You
all the best.
also be safe, ma'am.
You too.